when almost every tertiary institution, the polytechnic, the university are currently on strike for the last for the last almost going to 7 months. And my question then is, who actually is still in charge of Nigeria? Do we still believe that we have a government? And if we have a government, why is the government not doing enough when it comes to, some of these issues? We will talk about that as well this evening. This evening as well, I will be, looking into what is happening in New York, where we have a lot of activities that is also going on in New York, where the Yorubas will continue their campaign for reclaim back of their country that was taken away from them by the United Kingdom during the colonial era that led to the 1914 amalgamation. This is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And as we continue to say, every Wednesday, you will join me for those of you that listen to us every Wednesday. So Wednesday is where you can catch up with so many things that is happening, not just in UK, but also across, the globe. When I look at the, all the current situation, that is happening in Nigeria today, you tend to wonder and ask yourself, why are Nigerians so, laid back? Why are Nigerians not doing a lot? People ask this question, and I tend to try to find an answer. Why, a country, with a population of 60% of the youth, and these youth have literally, not done anything, apart from, having a country that failed them completely. Both the government, from the federal to the state, from the local government to the federal government to the governors, you will expect that Nigerians will be given the top notch when it comes to education. Nigerians will be given the top notch when it comes to the insecurity, welfare. But all these have literally failed in what we call today Nigeria. So a lot of Nigerians are just waking up on a daily basis. They are not sure, when the next meal is coming up. Nigeria remains the capital poverty of the world as we speak today. Nigeria also literally still remains a country that you would have, to work extremely hard, if you're going to survive in Nigeria. And these are so many reasons why, those indigenous are now saying that it seems Nigeria is no longer viable for a lot of us. It seems the union of Nigeria does not guarantee, an average person, it seems, Nigeria, can no longer work for every one of us. Once again, this is Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, where we are transmitting, this evening. It is exactly, what it is. I would get the phone line open at some point, but please, do not call yet. There's a lot that we like to discuss before we eventually start taking those calls. For those that still believe in Nigeria, I don't believe in Nigeria anymore, and I believe that the country needs to break away, so that we can have a better opportunity. No one has to travel out of the country. We can build a nation just as it was done in 1991 when the Soviet Union eventually collapsed. But what are going to be the benefit, should we decide that we want to have a nation of our own? A lot of people have been asking that question, and I'm going to be trying my best, to answer those questions as well. Those that believe that we should go for, a new election in 2023. My question then is, do we still have the unity together as Nigerians? We have, 371 different ethnic groups that the British decided that, for whatever reason known to them, I'm not sure who gave them the audacity, to put us together in what we call Nigeria today. But a lot of people are also saying that we can still manage Nigeria in the midst of all the crises. I'm going to be playing an audio clip of Aisha Yusuf that I listened to over the weekend, where she also talked about this unity, and as many people back home that are campaigning for either Peter Obi, Atiku or Tinubu. My question as an indigenous person is, do you think that you can still keep us together in Nigeria today? The debt ratio of Nigeria is continue to grow on a daily basis. There are more Nigerians that are going into poverty as we speak today. Once again, this is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I'm going to be playing my first clip this evening, as I love, my sister Janet. But I also have a new one that, was actually sent to me. It seems we have a lot of, brilliant artists from the Yorubas, that are, composing, as many, audio clips that are, something that is worth listening to. And I would like to say good evening once again, to those of you that are joining us from all the platforms across the world this evening. I've been monitoring, before I went on a short nap, the procession that is going on, at the palace, Westminster Palace, where the Queen body is now being looked into by so many, people around the world. The queue is just unbelievable. Everyone wants to get the last glimpse of the Queen before she will finally be buried on Monday. So we continue to, as also King Charles, I've been following, some of his gaffe again. He's been really, really complaining. And a lot of people are saying, it's actually a tough one for someone that have just lost his mother. And then he's been in the media for, continuous, situation. So one thing I've got to say this evening is Nigeria still working? And if Nigeria is not working, why should we keep it? The late Chief Obafemi Awolowo actually said, and I quote, Nigeria is just a mere geographical location. There's a lot of activities that is also going to be happening. I'm going to be looking into the letter of, Professor Banji Akintoye, to President Muhammadu Buhari, that was sent on the 6th of August, 2022. We're going to be talking about also Professor, the leader of the Yoruba nation. He actually spoke to me this afternoon. He actually called me, and each time he called me, I know he's always has something to say, but I'll keep that to myself for now. And I'd like to say thank you so much once again. There was a letter that he also released last week. And this letter is, Professor Banji Akintoye literally apologizing to the slave trade victims in the Yoruba land. The damage that the British have done in our lives, and it still has a big impact, among so many, Africans, especially those that have, the background to, the slave trade. For thousands of years, we were literally being exported out of the continent through, I want to try and remember that particular area in Badagry. When you get there, you are likely not returning back, and you will definitely have to find yourself somewhere in Europe, and you will become a slave. Who benefited from the slave trade, and why? That went on for a very long time. And these are questions that everybody's now asking, that can we still see ourselves as, having a new monarch, and then we remain part of Commonwealth? Why should we remain part of Commonwealth? What is the benefit, for indigenous people, in a Commonwealth today? All these are questions that are begging for a lot of answers, and sometimes those answers are not coming, very, very fast as well. I have the first, track ready to go. Once again, my name is Olami Koiki. If you're just watching us for the first time on Star Radio UK, what you can do for us is make sure you follow us on all the social media handle. You can also follow us on Twitter, and I'd like to know how many new followers we're going to be getting on Twitter tonight. So tonight on Star Radio UK, we have so far I'm going to be sharing the link out. I want to know how many people is going to be watching us on Twitter tonight as well. And likewise, about less than 700 followers on Twitter. Not a very good one for those of you, especially the Yorubas that have been friends of Star Radio UK. Why are you not following us on the Twitter? Is this something that we need to tweak around? A lot of people are saying to me, I should be on TikTok. I say, well, we're working on almost all these. But I want to know how many of you would have to follow us on Twitter. So I want you to go on your Twitter page right now and click follow on Star Radio UK. The Star is the STARRADIO UK. I want you now to leave whatever platform you are watching us from and go straight down there and click the follow. Thank you so much once again. I'll be reading some of your comment. Those of you that will be following us on Star Radio UK, that is where we're going to be reading all the comment tonight. So once again, I would like to appreciate those of you that have joined us in all the platforms. It's always good when we have, those that are watching us on Twitter. I think we should get the MixLR up and running as well, even though we've been just about 20 minutes behind. But this is my first track this evening. Enjoy it. And this was composed for the Yoruba people that really wants to go out of Nigeria. Bear with us as we get that on quickly. Once again, this is Star Radio UK. Sorry, that is the wrong, message there. And I guess this is what I'm looking for. Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Masuloro, Abraham Adesoya, Papa Justin, Olaige, Etide Kekde Yoruba Nija. As we dey move, then they laugh us. As we dey move, then they laugh us. It seems that so many people back home doesn't believe that Nigeria should break away. I'm not sure why. Even though Nigeria is not working for them, but some just think, you know what? Let us keep Nigeria and let's fight it together. I said, no. I don't want to be part of those that will be fighting a country that have literally failed. The people. The British created Nigeria. There's nothing called Nigeria. And I also have a sound clip of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, that actually said, and I quote, that Nigeria is not also working, and it is time that we let Nigeria to rest. Just as, London Bridge is being allowed to rest right now. When Baba God, he go shut them. They use excuse their oppressors. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK. They just say they don't want to ask us for the nation. We have to do whatever it is to get the nation. As long as we continue to remain in Nigeria, there's probability that you'll be killed by the Fulani. I also have, our father that was killed. Remember that he traveled from Maryland. I have, a news update that I'll be giving you about that as well. Once again, it's been almost less than 12 hours so far of so many deaths that came to me. I lost a very close friend of mine from the secondary school, and we also had a Yoruba man, a DJ that committed a suicide in Liverpool. What a very sad situation in the last 12 hours. Every day by day, once again, I want you to follow Star Radio UK on Twitter. If you haven't done so, I'll be looking up the update later on before the end of the program tonight. But for now, if you are watching us on all the platforms, I want you to go on Twitter, click the follow button, because that is the only way you can catch up with me, especially when live on the Star Radio UK morning show with the rest of the team. Once again, I say good evening, good morning, and good night, because we're living in the fair part of the globe. Look at them, they don't care about us, but we be the same in all our kingdom. Castle up, Kajajija Ominira. Castle up, Kajajija Ominira. What we say when we get them now, you go to pretend like you. What is going to be the benefit of having a nation and different from what we have, as we speak right now? A lot of the Yorubas, want us to leave about 80%. What about the remaining 20%? What actually are they still enjoying in what we call Nigeria today. Like I said, I had a call from Professor Banji Akitoye, and I'll probably just keep that conversation between myself and him in my chest. We couldn't have done this without my producer that are working behind the scene. I say Archie, Amon, and Frank, thank you so much for keeping us going. And I hope those of you that are watching us can hear us loud and clear back on Starr Radio UK, especially if you're watching us live on the Starr Radio UK social media apps. The time is just coming up to 18:25 p.m. in UK. It is the 14th of September 2022. Like I said, it's been 12 hours of trying to figure out the two deaths that has come to my notice. One actually died on Sunday, and it was what we can call an accident. And I'm still trying to figure out, how, what actually happened. But I remember that one of the colleagues I spoke to, back in Nigeria said to me, we're all going to die one day, but nobody knows exactly when. Why is it that 20% of Nigerians, especially 20% of the indigenous people, still believe that we should save Nigeria? Why do we want to save Nigeria? And what is the unity that is not working for every single one of us? May the soul of DJ Ola that actually, committed suicide in Liverpool and the family that he left behind, 4 beautiful children. I'm still trying to figure my head out. Why did he commit suicide? You go to pretend like you can. That's the soul of DJ. On behalf of all the Axoba 9095, we are saying from Starr Radio UK, may the soul of our colleague that died rest in perfect peace. Once again, a very good evening. This is Naija Voices. In just 3 minutes, I'll be going fully into the program. We're just going around for now, but at exactly 18:30, we'll be going into the program, more into it as well. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Every Wednesday, you will join me if you are listening to me, where we discuss issues affecting Nigerians, issues affecting indigenous people, and the more reason why we need to break away from Nigeria. For those of us that believe that the unity among us in Nigeria is no longer working. You never know that someone that might be close to you is going into depression. Are you checking on them? Because someone just committed suicide in Liverpool, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I say good evening to those of you that are already joining us on the Star Radio UK YouTube. I'll be saying hello to some of you out there. I say good evening to you. Muyiwa says, may their soul rest in peace. I say thank you so much. Prince says, former President Jonathan knew that Nigeria is not a nation, but he looked away when he was in power. Yoruba nation don't stand. Gidigba. Pretend like you can. That's what and that is King White right there. That is my first track. The first audio clip that you're going to listen to is actually going to be coming from, you're going to be hearing the audio. You might not see the video. I got the video right here, but you will get the sound coming out. The former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, was in power for more than 8 years. He actually was there when Yaradua as the vice president until Yaradua died, and they were trying to hide away the death of Yaradua in Germany. Imagine the president is dead, and it seems the cabal wanted to make sure they take control, and nobody's aware that Yaradua is dead. But eventually that came to the limelight. In the issue of the current president, even he himself says that I'm not dead, I'm still alive. But there's a lot of rumor out there that the president is gone, even though the president has already debunked that. So we still believe that the president is there. The question then to my listeners this evening on Niger Voices at 1800, I want us to listen to this video. I mean, the soundtrack is about 2 minutes, 20 seconds, and I'm going to try to remain, completely quiet because I want us to get something out of it. There's a lot that the letter that I have right here in front of me, which Professor Banji Akintoye actually wrote to President Muhammadu Buhari, also stated exactly what Jonathan have told us. We're expecting the presidency to respond to this letter before the end of the year. I'm sorry, I say the end of the month. Whether the president is going to do that, is something that we would have to wait and see. But I want us to take note that this letter, as we have it here, is also, and I guess I should get the latest one, that I have here, because it seems this one that I've actually got with me right here. I've done a lot of, write-up and different things on it, and I guess I should work with a new version. Yes. Let's work with the new version, and let's leave this old version alone. This letter, Professor Banji Akintoye, under the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement. For those that are not Nigerians, you're probably from Kenya, you're listening to me in Kenya, or you're Ghanaian, and you're wondering, why do the Yoruba people want to literally, exit Nigeria peacefully? In 1914, the British government, thank you so much, those of you that love that music. I'll be playing that again later on, and I really appreciate every single one of you that have joined us. Let me appreciate those of you. I'll read more comment from the Star Radio UK page as against my other page that is also being broadcast, but I do appreciate every one of you. So let me quickly say good evening to you, Shamsuddin Oladipupo. God bless you all. Good evening to Shino Yusuf. You say God bless you, Mr. Koiki. Also, Abdul Salam Sharifa say, may he find rest. Yes, I mean, before we go into it, I was actually on the Yoruba Nation Mega Rally conversation with Prophet Ayodele Ologbolua. And as I speak to you, if you're in New York, please make sure you be part of that 2 weeks event that is going on in New York. And while I was live on that program, I actually was watching my WhatsApp message on my laptop, and the message actually came through from a friend of mine in America. Is currently the president of Axoba 905. For those that probably is thinking, what is Axoba 905? Axoba 905 are the set of the Abeokuta Grammar School Old Student Association. I left Abeokuta Grammar School in 1995, so if you have left a school, you'll probably be a member of their Old Student Association. So we finished in 1995. So that means, we are known as the Axoba 9095. So the 95 stand for those that finished in 1995. We have our younger ones that are still coming out of the secondary school, even though the schools are becoming more dilapidated as you can think of. No government investment in any of the state schools in Nigeria. And if you don't have the money, that means you definitely have to remain in a school for the rest of your time. I mean, it was up to the standard while I was there. But we have a colleague of ours, one of our best, brilliant students. I'm not going to mention the name for now because of the family. We will leave the name as, but we pray this evening with a wife that is currently going through a widow, the children that have been left as well by these our brother, and also a Yoruba man, and he would have been the one of a shining star, should we get a Yoruba nation, because the job he was doing as an engineer, has to do around, one of the biggest sector that is currently still big, even though we know a lot of countries around the world are trying to go into more other sector. I'm talking about the crude oil, but eventually he had a slip accident and he died on Sunday. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I've got those information that have already been passed to me by the current president of the Axoba 9095. So on behalf of myself, the Star Radio UK management, and my family, I'm sending my condolence to, these my very close friend. I was actually still speaking to the president last week, and he told me how he participated fully during our anniversary that normally comes up in July in Abeokuta, Idiaraba, where there's a lot of event happens there. But he has actually left us now at a very young age, as you can imagine, almost the same age myself, but he's gone right now. While I was still trying to, walk around that, deal with that issue that got to me at about 1 a.m. yesterday, trying to figure out, even when the video was posted, I hardly didn't want to believe that he's dead. But this is how death happens. When death comes, it's kind of, you start thinking of, why not these evil, politicians in Nigeria, and then the evil ones around in the world, they're still more longer. I'm not sure why, but, the creator knows better. While I was trying to walk around that, yes, I got information that somebody committed suicide in Liverpool, which is just about some few hours away from London. Another Yoruba man, that lives there is the DJ, well known within the Nigerian community, and I couldn't understand, why. I mean, I didn't even realize that this person was somebody that I know very, very closely until on my way dropping, the little one to school this morning. I was posting the rally that is coming up in Sabo, Southwest Abeokuta in Nigeria, later on this Saturday on the 17th that we are looking up to. And he's saying rally is coming up on Thursday, if I'm aware of that. Next week, there's also Ondo rally. All these are not the major rally that we're expecting. Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho will lead the major mega rally, and that date will be announced to us at the appropriate time. Good evening to you, Mr. Michael O. Awe, that have also joined us on the Star Radio UK. If you're watching us on Star Radio UK, I will definitely welcome you. But for the rest of you that are watching us on all the other platforms, I say good evening, and I might not be able to read all the comments straight away, but we will try. But I'm also going to be monitoring our Twitter page, like I said, on Star Radio UK. Please do follow us. While I was still trying to, put together, I'm sure when when somebody died and the news comes to you, you're thinking of so many things. You're thinking about the children, you're thinking about the family, and you're thinking about so many things, the colleagues that he has actually left. Then I saw the picture on Linda Ikeji page of the DJ Ola that died in Liverpool, and straight there, without nobody telling me, I knew that we've lost another very good brother. And we can only say from here, may their soul rest in peace. He actually commits suicide, and that for me is something that if you're going through depression, especially in Nigeria. I actually watched a video where a young woman wanted to throw herself into the into across the the river, on one of the, I believe, the Third Mainland Bridge. She was pinned down. We've seen a lot of that cases that is going on. I spoke to our former head girl back in Nigeria this morning because I just wanted to speak to a lot of people, around the issue of our friend that died. And she said to me, Yomi, there's a lot of cases of people that are dying in Nigeria committing suicide, especially in a country that care less about anyone, as well. So if you're going through depression, especially in Nigeria, even though we know people are going through depression abroad, Nigeria case is different because there's no electricity, there's no welfare system, there's no economy that is working for any Nigerians. The politician doesn't care about you, and that means you might be thinking of that. Please do not do so. If we all remember, it was only 2 weeks ago, a man actually also commits suicide in Nigeria. I'm not sure how the wife and the children have to take this, because the picture that was actually put out to the public domain, which I'm not sure why nobody verified those kind of pictures before they're allowing her to go to the social media. I'm not sure whether that was the wife and the children, looking up to the father that has actually committed suicide. These are very difficult times that we are living in this world. But what we can say is, if you need to speak to somebody within the community here in UK, please do so. If you're going through depression in Nigeria, try to speak to somebody. Let's now come back. This is what Goodluck Jonathan said about Nigeria in an interview or a conference that it was. This came up to my attention on Simon Ekpa Twitter feed, and this is what he had to say.
How we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have the conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation, and the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This is accredited to Sir Ahmadu Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. The third, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country. But the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country. This is...
So you had him right there properly without wasting too much of our time. This was also part of what the Professor Banji Akintoye wrote into the letter that was sent to President Muhammadu Buhari on August the 6th, 2022. And I want us to listen to this carefully. I'm going to play it one more time. I want us to take note of what the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, is saying. Are we now saying that if it is the intention of the British to keep the one Nigeria, why should we be forced to remain Nigerians? The amalgamation of 1914 is not working. The unity of Nigerians has collapsed. We have the Fulanese that is also being headed by the current president, Muhammadu Buhari, that even no one is denying that, because he has been told so many times that there are so many Fulanese that are moving around with AK-47 and AK-49, killing as many Nigerians as possible. But it seems that President Muhammadu Buhari is not really concerned about those issues. If truly that the unity of one Nigeria is no longer viable, why should we remain Nigerians? Once again, I want us to listen to what the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, have said. Then I'm going to give us an audio clip of my interview with the current governor of Benue State, Governor Autumn, that we had on Friday. Let's listen one more time to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders.
Okay, let me first give us, there's nothing called the founding fathers. It was Lugard that actually founded Nigeria. Those that were given Nigeria were not at that age. And let me also correct myself, because one of my broadcasts that I did during the week, there was these disparity about the age. Queen Elizabeth was born in 1926, and that was just so many years after the amalgamation. So she was not born during the amalgamation. The amalgamation of Nigeria actually happened around 1914, but there's been a lot of process prior to that. The queen that died, Queen Elizabeth II, may her soul rest in peace, that is now been right at the Westminster, where a lot of people have been going, to pay their last respect. She was born in 1926. So, and if she was born in 1926, that literally means that was so many years, after, the fake 1914 amalgamation. So that was 12 years behind. So she was not born, during the amalgamation period, but she was born, 12 years later. So, I think I did mix up the date, during my presentation, and I've had a lot of calls that have come through, and I believe we've been able to rectify that this evening. Like I said, Queen Elizabeth II, may her soul rest in peace, was born in 1926, and she died, just a few days ago. The body has actually arrived in London as we speak right now. And like I said, yes, she was born on the 21st of April, 1926 in Broughton Street here in London. But we do know that it is our generation, the forefathers, our fathers, our grandfathers rather, that actually was part of these, what we call the founding fathers of Nigeria. Because Chief Obafemi Awolowo is not a founding father of Nigeria. What they got was what the British gave to them. Nnamdi Azikiwe was not the founding father of Nigeria. All these are lies that the British have told us for a very long time, just as we were told. I mean, that, Mungo Park. How many people remember Mungo Park? How many of us remember Mungo Park? Mungo Park is a Scottish explorer of West Africa. And after the exploration of the upper Niger River around 1796, he wrote a popular and influential travel book titled Travels in the Interior District of Africa, in which it, give us the Niger-Congo merge to become the same river. But for years, up to completing my secondary school, I was told that Mungo Park founded River Niger. River Niger has been around even before, Mungo Park father was born. these are all the lies that we have been told, during the history that was taken away from so many secondary schools, and not even the university in the contraction that is known as Nigeria, which is just a mere geographical expression. And I'm going to repeat that, clip again one more time. So I want us to really understand that the unity that is now being forced on us, these let us remain in one Nigeria. Nigeria is going to work, let us go for election. Even the first ever election that took place in Nigeria was rigged by the British government in 1959. The British government rigged that election to favor the northern part of Nigeria. And if you look at what Goodluck Ebele Jonathan told us in that audio clip that we just played earlier, that is the voice of the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. He said exactly what Professor Banji Akintoye wrote at the page 4 of the 18-letter document that was sent to President Muhammadu Buhari, giving them the reason why the Yoruba needs to exit out of Nigeria. And if I repeat exactly what I have in this letter as to what the audio that you've just listened to, let's read this very carefully. And this is the content of the letter. You will remember also, Mr. President, that all the persons who served at the top of Nigerians' affair in the formative years of 1950 up to 1960s expressed serious doubt about the wisdom of keeping many peoples of Nigeria as one country. My question then is, just as our brother, our uncle, our father, Professor Moyo Okedeji of the History of Professor, University of Texas, this is what he actually wrote on his Facebook timeline on the 11th of September, just around 5 p.m. local time in London. He said, and I quote, he would have loved to meet with Queen Elizabeth II before she died, but she left Nigeria before he was born in 1956. He was actually born on the 25th of February 1956, and Queen Elizabeth have returned out of Nigeria on her first official visit on the 28th of January 1956. She left Nigeria on 16th of February. But he said, I wish I arrived in time because I have a lot of questions. Just as I love to ask the Queen, if I have the opportunity, why did these, amalgamation took place? She was not born during that period, but she spent 70 years, one of the best diamond year, the golden diamond, of her time. She was at a very young age when she was in Africa, when, the death of her father came up, and she had to take a very powerful position, just as the son, the King Charles III, has now taken the mantle. And my question to a lot of indigenous people is, do we still continue to allow the king to run around on our behalf under the Commonwealth, or do we come out of Nigeria as a kingdom that is older than King Charles? Because the Yoruba kingdom of today is quite older than the late Queen Elizabeth II, and we have a lot of evidence to that. This is what Professor Moyo for Her Majesty that died, but he left Nigeria when the Queen came back during Obasanjo era as a former president in 2003. He was already in America, on his own journey. But he says, and I quote, I had several important questions for Her Majesty the Queen. Some of them listed on a note I brought with me from Ajule Orun, the original source. The most important question I had, and this is Professor Moyo Okedeji speaking right now. The most important question I had was this: who gave the British the audacity to force together numerous peoples who never saw eye to eye into one entity which they named Nigeria? So if you are a Nigerian and you are trying to fight for Nigeria, you are actually fighting for what the British created in 1914, gave to what they are now calling our founding fathers. Obafemi Awolowo did not found Nigeria. Nigeria was put together by the British, governor administrator of the time, known as Lugard. Lugard was working on behalf of the British Empire, and he actually put together what is known as Nigeria today. So this unity is not working, but yet we are told to keep it together. But this is what Aisha Yusuf said as well. And I picked this up, from her page, which was almost 2 days ago. And I want us to listen to what Aisha Yusuf, I'm sure a lot of you know her if you're following these Bring Back Our Girls, that again, another failed country like Nigeria that could not protect, girls that were in their boarding school when the Boko Haram came into that. And remember, I want us to remember that the current, the current person that was actually in charge during that period of the governor of Borno State is the same person that is vying the position of the vice president. I'm talking about Shetima. Shetima was the current governor during the time of during that period of the Bring Back Our Girls, where there was so many girls that were actually kidnapped by the Boko Haram, and yet nothing has been done because we still have a lot of them as well. I'm going to take a bit of my seat, but for now, let's go listen to one more time of my beautiful soundtrack. When I come back, we will continue the conversation.
Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Masuloro, Abraham Adesoya, Baba Justin.
All right, I'm going to let that go because there's a lot that I still have to discuss. We're ending the program at exactly 8:30, but I also wanted to bring a phone call in later on. Once again, a very good evening to those of you that have joined us on all the multiple platforms. I also want us to remember, yes, thank you so much, Ejio Yuko. I hope I didn't massacre the name. You say 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. We must discuss if we are staying together. Good luck, Jonathan. Yes, and that's exactly what we've been playing. I'm going to come back again to that. Remember, Professor Moyo Okedeji is asking the question that Jonathan is also asking, and let us listen one more time to the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
How we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. Always delights in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria.
I want us to take note of that. We are now 62 years, according to what we are told. 62 years, well, I mean, 108 years precisely, because when we look at, the 1914 amalgamation, there was nothing called Nigeria until 1914. Should we now start questioning and asking the question on the United Nations General Assembly floor that why should we remain Nigeria when we have a kingdom that is older than Nigeria, older than the monarch, because the Yoruba kingdom is older than the monarchy system. But yet, we are now talking about a new king that is taking over from the previous queen, and then we will still remain under the Commonwealth. And the question is, can we really continue in this direction? Let's listen a little bit more.
What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks.
Okay, I want us to get that very well. We are all different in our outlook. And when we look at how do you recognize, a nation, and what are the indices when we have to say we are a nation? We have to be one people, one culture, one language. My question to my listeners from around the world is, what language is a Nigeria language? What language is Nigeria? Because English is not our language. English was forced on us by the British Empire, and today, even as a Nigerian, if you have to apply for a British passport, you would have to take a British exam in English. Once again, good evening. If you're joining us, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and this is where we discuss all the issues affecting Nigerians right here in the United Kingdom. My question again tonight is, who Professor Moyo Okedeji? And I've actually posted that. You can read more about it on his Facebook page, where he actually quote, and I say, who gave the audacity for the British to unite us together? I don't speak the same language with the Biafrans. They have their own language. They have their own culture. I don't speak the same language with the Arewa. Does not mean we cannot live side by side as individual nations of our own. All these are the reasons why the indigenous people are saying that we can no longer continue to live in denial. But we also have a lot of Nigerians that disagree with us. They say that, the unity of Nigeria can still be worked together. And I'm asking how? Because the unity at the beginning is on a false document. There's nobody known as Nigerians. We are non-Nigerians. We are indigenous people. Let's finish listening to what Goodluck Jonathan had to say. I'm not sure when this video came out, whether it's a recent video, but like I said, I picked up this video right on the Simon Ekpa page this afternoon during my going around to prepare for Starr Radio UK Niger Voices. I'd like to appreciate my producer. Tomorrow is the property hour, and likewise I said, every Monday to Friday, if you want to get all the latest updates, the news coming out of Nigeria, join me with Frank Achi during the morning show.
And beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation. And the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This is accredited to Sir Amado Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. He thought, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country.
Okay, I want us to take note of that. And I have that same year, according to the letter that Professor Banji Akintoye wrote to President Muhammadu Buhari. Why is it that the British is trying to hold us together as one country, knowing fully well that we are not one? Together as one. Let me quickly help Goodluck Jonathan here from the letter that our father, Professor Banji Akintoye, wrote. And he says, and I quote, "You would remember also, Mr. President, that all the persons who served at the top of Nigerians' affair in the formative years of 1950s up to the 1960s. That's about 10 years. So that's the transition that the British were cooking, telling lies that they will have an election in Nigeria in 1959, leading to the independence in 1960. But we now know by all the evidence that the British did not want the Yorubas to have the power in 1960. So they literally backed behind the scene the Northerners against the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Obafemi Awolowo lost that election. There were so many lies against, Zik. All these were cooked by the British government of that period to portray, those that lived in that era of the transition. So there was what we call a transition between 1950 up to the 1960 independence that we were given, which is a fake independence in the first place. Because what they did was they knew that giving power to the Southwest allowing the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo to lead the country would probably today have changed a lot of things. Let's continue. Expressed serious doubt about the wisdom of keeping the many peoples of Nigeria as one country. So those during that era had serious doubt, had serious concern that how do you want to keep these different ethnic groups of 371 in one entity called Nigeria, and you expect us to live peacefully? And today, after 108 years, we have the Fulani that is now marginalizing us. We have the Fulani that has taken control and wiped off every part of the northerners today, because there was never an Hausa that should not have been given a proper role. All the majority of the governors in the north today are of the Fulani heritage line. Probably maybe one or two are not Fulanis. Fulani was not part of us at the beginning. Nobody knew them until they eventually start encroaching, and they were able, through the backing of the Western world, to push the North out. So the North is no longer in the picture today. The Hausas have become a second slave for a very long time. But the Yorubas that thought that we wanted to fix Nigeria, the Igbo that thought that we should manage Nigeria, the Middle Belt that thought we should fix and work with Nigeria, never knew that there was a different agenda, there was a different plan to make sure that Nigeria is marginalized. I'm talking about the indigenous people. And again, as I continue, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the late, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the then foremost Yoruba leader and one of the foremost negotiators of the federal system of Nigeria. As we speak today, we are not even running a federal system. The president has a big power that no president around the world has ever had, based on the fraudulent 1999 constitution that all the senior advocates of Nigeria has kept so much shut their mouth without saying much about it. Nobody should allow election to continue in Nigeria based on that fraudulent document. That document needs to be destroyed and not allowed to be used on any more election in Nigeria until the negotiation of Nigerians and the indigenous people is looked into, and that would then mean that we can continue whether as Nigerians or we break away as indigenous people. So what they've done is, for years, Nigerians have been told lies. For years, Nigerians have been given the impression that we are one. And I'm telling you today, the 14th of September on Starr Radio UK, that Nigerians, we are not one. This is a marriage that was brought together by the British government in 1914, and the politicians of today are now the one running the affair on behalf of the British, because I don't understand why our politicians still want us to keep Nigeria. Our Yoruba politicians should be discussing on the House of the floor, the Senate floor, on how we will get ourselves out of Nigeria. But every one of them today is shouting, let's go for a new election. If you go for a new election, what you're doing is you like to renew the fraudulent 1999 constitution that has been used to subject, to suppress your life from becoming a better person as Yoruba person. Does not literally mean that we hate the Igbo. Does not literally mean we hate the Arewa or we hate each other. We can live side by side together, but not in the cave. It's like some people that put in a, it's like we've been put in a cave and we expect to live and flourish. There's no way we can flourish. We do not speak the same language. Remove the English language from Nigeria today, and you realize that Nigeria is going to collapse in under 2 hours. Let us remove the English language out of Nigeria. Nigeria will eventually collapse within 2 hours. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. My name is Ola Yomiko Ikamil, your host. Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the late, then foremost Yoruba leader, and one of the foremost negotiator of a federal system that is not being used today, because we're not using a federal system as we speak right now. We already have in the northern part of Nigeria where they're using Sharia, and that is something that a lot of us needs to understand. He wrote at the time that Nigeria is a mere geographical expression, and that if a member of the federation became predominantly anarchistic, the other members of the federation should, if they disagree with such, be able to discontinue the association with Nigeria. This is clearly stated during these, formative years of Nigeria. We have it there that says if we are no longer happy with each other, we should just allow Nigeria to dissolve. So why is this so difficult? Why is it proving, something that we have to, fight and kill each other? We don't have to kill each other. We don't literally have to kill each other. All we have to do is come on the round table. How much is our debt? We know. We write it down. How many of the Yorubas are working with the federal government? We know, and we recall them back home. We recall back our senators. They are not going to be representing us in the federal unity of Nigeria because there's nothing called Nigeria. Our House of Representatives and everything known as Nigeria will stop to exist in the Yoruba part of the what we call our own territory. This is exactly what we should be doing moving forward before the 2023 election. Going for a 2023 election is a danger to the lives of the Yoruba people, as is a danger to the lives of the Biafra and even the Arewa and the Middle Belt. No Nigerians should be allowed to go and vote again or even participate in any election as is approaching in the next 148 days. Nigeria is just a mere geographical expression that needs to wind down quietly without a bloodshed. Let's continue with the letter. It is not just the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo that spoke about the unity of Nigeria. Even the late Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa said similar thing as well. And this is what he said again in the letter that has been sent to President Muhammadu Buhari, and we're expecting a response. And for those of us that are continuing to campaign, for those of us that believe that we are on the right path because we have the rights, and I'll be giving you some of those rights again on Star Radio UK Niger Voices this evening, that the unity of Nigeria is not compulsory. We cannot be forced to be in a country that does not belong to us. Nigeria was created, is not for me, it is only for those that created it, and it is not benefiting myself and the generation that is right now, and the generation that we should also be praying for those of us that still want to have as many children as possible. And we also have the rights, according to the United Nations Declaration of the Right of the Indigenous People. What does that mean in terms to a layman? I'll be explaining that to you if you are still in doubt that self-determination is not a crime. I will get the phone line open just about 7:30, and we can allow you to call in, and you can speak your local language if that is what you feel comfortable. But let us remember, if you're calling in, you're calling into the studio line, and we will not take any language that is abusive on the platform because of the ethics of the radio station. Again, on the 7th of September 2007, at the floor of the General Assembly, the United Nations Declaration on the Right of the Indigenous People. So whatever we are doing today is not against the law of the world. Also, for 30 years, the world knew that the indigenous people will one day continue to demand exactly who they are. We are not just the only country that is asking to be part of a new global community. So this is what actually was said. The right of the indigenous people have over the past 30 years become an important component of international law and policy. Let's go back to what Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, the man who as the Prime Minister headed the Nigerian federal government, and we are no longer in a federal government, it is just all mirage. What we have right now is a Fulani government running the affairs of the country because as we speak right now, they are operating a Sharia system in Nigeria, and that does not work for me as a Yoruba man in what is called Nigeria today. Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, the man who as the Prime Minister as at the period of the transition to Nigeria that was created by the British government, headed the Nigerian federal government in the years immediately before and after independence. This is what he has to say. Once again, this is Star Radio UK. How many of you have actually followed us on the Twitter like I did ask earlier on, and I'm going to be monitoring that? And you will not tell me you haven't done so. So right now, let me refresh quickly. And it seems so far, nobody has actually gone to follow us on the Twitter. Wow. We have quite a lot of people that are watching, but it seems nobody is actually following us on Star Radio UK. I want you to go and do so right now. Leave the platform, go on Twitter and follow us, because this is where you'll be able to get all this kind of news. This kind of news is not going to come to you in the media in Nigeria, because they are calling some of us secessionists, and probably maybe they might call us terrorists. But there's nothing called secessionists. We have the right for self-determination. So I want you right now to leave whatever you're watching and go on Twitter and help us to follow Star Radio UK, because every Wednesday, if you really still want to be watching me on Star Radio UK, that is how you will enjoy myself and my other programs that I do on the Star Radio UK. So I've actually posted the link one more time. Maybe you probably didn't get the link. Go there right now and click on that link. Follow the Star Radio UK on Twitter, and that will be giving you the best information across the globe. Because to be honest with you, this information, this conversation is not the conversation that they want you to know. Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I say good evening once again at exactly 15 minutes past 1900 hours in London, where we are reporting as we continue with the Niger Voices. Good evening to those of you that are watching us from around the globe. I want you to go on that link and click on it, follow us quickly, so that you will be part of the family of Star Radio UK. And probably maybe if you're not enjoying this program, then I'm not sure. Maybe that's why you don't want to subscribe to us. Do subscribe on Star Radio UK on YouTube. But the most important part is follow us on Twitter. If you haven't got a Twitter handle, it is as easy as just having one other social media handle. Let's come back again to what actually Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa the late said. Since 1914, and I quote, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country. Trying. We saw that the British High Commissioner is going up and down, engaging with the presidential aspirant. And the question is, we don't want to go into any more election, High Commissioner. We want now for your government to start discussing how we will dissolve Nigeria for the indigenous people that you merged together in 1914. And you've been trying to do so continuously. So when you see Peter Obi visiting the British High Commissioner in Nigeria in Abuja, when you see Atiku visiting the British High Commissioner in Nigeria, when you see, Tinubu, I'm not sure whether Showore would like to do the visit as well. But what we can tell you is, this is part of what the late Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa said, and I quote, since 1914. So that means for 108 years of the build-up of Nigeria, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country that is not meant for us. There are smaller countries around the world that are doing very well. We talked about Fiji Island yesterday. When you look at, so many countries that are not even up to the population of Ekiti State. Ekiti, as of 2016, I don't know what is the current population right now, because this is a country that refused to get a right census. All we've been told is the northern part of Nigeria is more than the southwest part of Nigeria, even though there is no water up there. Since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country, but the Nigerian peoples themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs, customs, and do not show themselves any willingness to unite. This is now where I'll take you to what Aisha Yusuf actually said some few weeks back. She actually said, and I quote, that if we don't want to be together, maybe we should just allow Nigeria to break up. I'm talking about Aisha Yusuf of Bring Back Our Girls. She said, and I quote, in the headline, stop blaming Lugard. Is asking us, those of us that want to break away from Nigeria, that we should stop blaming Lugard. One Nigeria is not by force. Let us have Nigerian conversation. What is a Nigerian conversation? Can somebody explain to me what does she mean by Nigerian conversation? There's nothing called Nigeria. Nigeria is just a fabrication of what the British government did in 1914. Let's listen to what she has to say.
When we will all stop blaming Lord Lugard and begin to blame ourselves? January 1st, 1914, that was when the amalgamation was done. Today, it's over 100 years, 108 years, that the amalgamation was done and we had Nigeria. And yet we're still blaming the person who did the amalgamation 100 years ago. Can't we sit down? Is it not time for us to sit down and have the Nigerian talk? Do we want to remain as one nation or we don't want to remain as one nation? If we don't want to remain as one nation, let everybody go their way. Let's divide. Even if we want to divide Nigeria into 36 countries, let's go ahead and do that. We are sitting down here, we are not taking responsibility for all our actions since after independence. We are sitting, we are blaming, we keep blaming everybody and everything except ourselves. We blame Lord Lugard, we blame the colonialists, we blame all sorts of people, but we never sit down to blame ourselves. And the thing about not taking responsibilities for your action and blaming other people is that until and unless those people come and fix it, you never get a result. But when you take responsibility for what is happening, you know that it is in your control and you are in charge to make the right things happen. When are we going to be in charge of Nigeria? When are we going to look at ourselves and tell ourselves that the people that we voted into office have caused us this? The fact that every one of us in our individual capacity have refused to do the right thing have brought us to where we are. Blaming. 100 years after, we are still blaming. Over 60 years of independence, we are still blaming. Hello? When are we taking that responsibility? When are we saying to ourselves, indeed, it is now our turn to actually make the right thing for Nigeria? When are we going to sit down and do all of these things? We are still blaming Lord Lugard up till now. The atrocities that are happening in Nigeria, is it Lord Lugard that said it should happen to us?
Wow. I hope you heard what she said there. She said something towards the end of that clip, and you can watch that on our page on YouTube, also known as Aisha Yusuf. We are blaming. And my question is, if the British government did not merge us together in this fraudulent country called Nigeria, I don't think we're going to be blaming anyone apart from blaming the Yorubas among ourselves in the government or not making our life better. We have to keep blaming. We cannot forget the past. I'm not sure whether she really understands what she's talking about. Let's have the Nigerian talk. What Nigerian talk is she talking about? Again, this is what late Abubakar Tafawa Balewa says, and I quote, Nigerian unity is only a British intention for Nigeria. So the only people that want the unity of Nigeria is the British government. I didn't say so. This is what the late Abubakar Tafawa Balewa said. It did not end there. It went further. Also, once said during a visit to the University College of Ibadan in 1964, the late Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, that the toughest part of Nigerians' insurmountable problems was the fact that the three largest black African nations, the Yorubas, the Hausas, and the Fulanis, I'm not sure where they got that Fulanis into it, and the Igbo, each of which should be a separate country, were being forced together in one country. Even Sir Amadu Bello, the foremost leader of the northern Nigeria before and after independence, once described the amalgamation of 1914 as the mistake of 1914. So where is she getting her own, these blaming that we are blaming Lugard, we are blaming the colonialists for the problem in Nigeria? They've given us independence. We've gone past the amalgamation. What is she talking about? I don't think she understands what she's talking about. This is Star Radio UK at 1923. And I welcome each and every one of you that are watching us from different part of the globe this evening. Who is truly a Nigerian? So once again, as we continue to review these, let's go to 1966. General Yakubu Bugawan, still alive. who had only a few weeks before becoming the Nigerian military head of state, made the following very deep statement, and I quote, "Suffice it to say, putting all considerations to test, politically, economically, as well as social, the basis for Nigerian unity is not there." The basis of Nigeria unity is not there. Why then should we all remain Nigerians by force? This is Niger Voices on Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, every Wednesday from 1800 hours to 8:30. We have a conversation. Even till today, according to this letter, Mr. President, the same kind of wisdom concerning Nigeria continues to be expressed with emphasis by the leading Nigerians. Let's go, for instance, Professor Angolo Abdullah, the former Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, generally respected as the foremost intellectual from the northern Nigeria, said the following in a public interview in 2007. If Nigerians are tired of staying together, they should be prepared to accept divisions instead of remaining in agony and disappointment with one another. The agony is too much. Nigerians that are not getting the message are probably being fed lies by the media in Nigeria by not giving us the full in-depth of what really is Nigeria. They come up and talk about all different analyses, but they are not giving us the in-depth of the history, that it is the intention of the British government to keep Nigeria unity together, not the intention of the indigenous people. We don't have to live in agony. We don't have to live in pain. We can have our own separate country. We can work together. Should we want to go and live in the northern part of what will be Arewa nation, you can go there and you will live according to their constitution, not the Sharia that is enforced on the Yorubas that are living in the northern part of Nigeria today. Let's continue. Again, we're looking into the letter that was sent to President Muhammadu Buhari that also will expire by the end of this month. There's a month of September. There's also the ongoing United Nations 77 General Assembly, where the Yorubas are also using that opportunity to speak to the international community, all the world leaders that will be arriving, that the unity of Nigeria now needs to be dissolved. It's no longer working. If Nigerians are tired of staying together, they should be prepared to accept the division instead of remaining in agony and disappointment with one another. We are always talking that Nigeria state is not working and asking, how can we make it work? How do you want to make Nigeria work in a country with 371 ethnic groups, like the Yorubas, all the other different, even those that are minority among us can have their own independent countries. Cyprus is not even up to 1 million people. They have their own passport. They have their own economy. They are managing the resources that they have within their capacity. They have a security. No terrorist is going to walk in there and kill anybody, just as all other countries. Soviet Union dissolved peacefully. In the next 3 minutes, I will get the phone line open, and you can also add your own voice. Olariwaju Taiwo says, and I quote, "Britain I love, Nigeria I hate. Modern slave trade must stop. Freedom for the Yoruba now." Thank you so much for your comment. Yoruba sovereignty is now. We must reclaim back our right. Shudu Adegoke say, "I don't think she understands what she's saying to all the Yorubas." Mrs. Dupe Agwola says she's married to Fulani. That is why she's talking with both of her mouth. Wow. I'm now reading some of the comments from the other platform. I say, good evening to you, Kasali Mutairu Abiodu. Good evening to you, Mrs. Adenike Ofe. Also, good afternoon to you on the other side of the globe. Mrs. Oluwatoyin Omolara Fatima. Good evening to you as well. Adegbiji Samuel says the White Lion. Idowu Oluwatayo says you are blessed. You are also blessed as well. Ojo Kota, grandson, Yoruba nation not going back, you says. Oro Wole Okpeyemi says Chibo girl. Shetima was the governor during the time of the kidnap, and it was told that the school should not go ahead with the exam. Yet the school went ahead and so many hundreds of innocent young girls were kidnapped from the northern part of Nigeria to what we call the Chibok girls, and a lot of them are still in the captivity of the the captivity of the terrorists that is already in Nigeria. Abayomi, the great Yoduduwa country, now no going back Sorosoke. Shegun Fagbulu say, yes, we were told Mango Park discovered River Niger. That is a plant lie by the British government and whoever wrote those books. Olaitan Olatayo, good evening to you. Also, Mrs. Shuade Adekoye say, you don't even think of his children. He's so selfish not to think of family before making decisions of killing himself. Yeah, that's a very sad one for my friend that commits suicide in Liverpool, DJ Ola. You can look at his picture up on Linda KJ page if you want to have a glimpse of that. May so rest in peace. Once again, good evening to you, every one of you that have joined us. Prince Adedamola Heritage, good evening to you. Lamidi Akim, good evening to you. Obina Masi, greetings from Abu Dhabi. Wow, what a very beautiful country you are in. Thank you so much once again, Mrs. Adegwe say, I love the music. Jamio Alade say, God bless you, White Lion, but I must say smiler. And I say, good evening to you, Mrs. Comfort. Adeleye says, may their soul rest in peace. Yes, two good friends of mine died in the last 12 hours. I'm getting the news, and it's a very tough one to go with. Johnson Ajisefe, good evening to you with your love sign. Amos Oluwaseyi, good evening to you. You say Yoruba Nation now not going back. Prince says, I love the music. I'll play that again. Elijah Monsurat Adenike Iran Olobade, a very powerful woman in Manchester. Your message has been delivered to me. I cannot appreciate you more than enough. Even at the shortest notice when we called you, you have served the Yoruba people as usual. You welcome us into Manchester with all your friends over there, and we will be coming back very soon again. I did ask somebody to call her, and she was able to help with sorting the situation out. This is what we expect the Yoruba to do, and this is what the Yoruba do. We are hospitality people, even though we can inconvenience ourselves, and we should be doing that more, but not to the other tribes, because we must first think about Yoruba first, and that is why I say, and I believe that Nigeria must now dissolve. Good evening to you, our mother Felicia Awe. The Yoruba Nation is still ongoing campaign at the New York, where the 77th General Assembly is going on. Good evening to you, Adeshina Adebimpe. Also, waiting for you on TikTok, Alaja Iranulode. Yes, I will be joining TikTok. I actually have an account in there. I just need to activate it so that I can be part of what is going on, especially talking to our youth that they destroy the history. A lot of the Yoruba do not understand who they are. They thought we are Nigerians. There's nothing called Nigeria. It's not about the music. It's not about the food. We are Yoruba people that have been in existence before the British government came and invaded, take us as slaves, and then, when we got to the Badagry section, when you go over that section, you're definitely not going back and you become a slave. Vincent Dada said it is called Badagry. Yeah, it's called Badagry, but it's also called something. When you get there, you are not returning back. I'm not too sure, that is, maybe somebody can help me, and I'll probably read that again. Good evening to you, Mrs. Comfort Adeleye, and I guess we've done justice on every one of you. Ola Oyewole, good evening. Shetima leading on the grand fact. Yeah, you're quite right. And I say good evening to you. Let's go to the next section and say good evening to you, Shitu Omawumi. Ola Oluwaremilekun, you say Yoruba Nation is not going back. Like I said, the phone line will be open in a short while. Should you want to call, please do not hesitate not to call, even if you have to speak our local language. Mrs. Bimisola, I will say, well done, Baami Odudua, Agbe Wao, Onigbe Odale. The Yoruba Nation will move forever as we continue. Oluwa Shoga, Eniola, my own, thank you so much for being part of the program this evening. And I will definitely communicate with you. I do say I was going to do so a couple of weeks ago, but bear with me, my brother, and I love you so much. That is Shoga. Abe Oluwafisayo, good evening to you. Owolabi Adams, good evening to you. Oluwaseun Okusoya, good evening to you. Bello Okpeyemi, Nigeria country is a blood country. There's no doubt in my mind. More Nigerians have been killed for a government that refused to do the needful. Students are no longer going to university or polytechnic. Everybody's just sleeping at home. Most of our Yoruba girls will probably be pregnant before the end of this year. Adegbogun Okua, good evening to you. Baba Kolawe, good evening to you. Alaji Aremu, thank you so much for joining us. and I guess we've done justice to that. Let's quickly say good evening to those of you that have joined us on the YouTube as well, and then we can continue the program. I hope and I pray for you all the time, just as I pray for mommy as well on the other side. Ibrahim Bello, good evening to you. Adewumi says 80% of Yorubas is more than enough to get the Yoruba nation, and there's no doubt in my mind we can declare. A lot of people are worried that should we declare Yoruba nation, the Nigerian government is going to go after us. Do you think of that as well? Let's hear from you as I'm going to open the phone line in just about a few minutes. Femi Michael, with so much love, thank you so much. Drizzy Freshie say Yoruba greedy politicians and leaders should remove their eyes from Abuja, go back home. Simple, but they are not going to represent us no more. Stephen Banjo, good evening to you. Tebitokpe says Equato, White Lion, Orinyi Akonsi, okay, Lashe, Orinyi Akonsi, okay, Lashe Ledumare. Thank you so much. So much Yoruba that I have to learn all the time. Kefi Adewale, good evening to you. Kamilu Yaya, good evening to you as well. Miss Liz Dada, a very beautiful mother of mine. Thank you so much for all your love and support. You say, Mr. Loyomi Ekweto. Mojid Babatunde say, Koiki, well done. Ijebode rally is loading, from what I'm told. There's a lot of people that are now saying, I gotta get my community, my own local government for rally. Let me quickly say, Ismaila Azan, thank you so much for watching. Paul, how are you doing today? I'm doing very well. Anna, keep the good work. God bless you and your family. Rukaya Tomomi, Oduatide Court. It looks like there's a banter going on right there on the YouTube with the comment section. Abiola Oluode, well done, and I say thank you so much. And I believe Oscar Akim Olawale Duro Bola, good evening to you. Ayodele Talk Show, and I believe also Yeyedara is live as well. Good evening to my beautiful mother. You say good evening, Olayomi Koiki and the fans. Terry Omalade, good evening. Raji Abdullahi, good evening to you. Engineer Olubukola Williams, no retreat, no surrender. Yoruba Nation now. You also say acclamation, acclamation. Yoruba Nation is the answer. And well done to every one of us that continue the powerful campaign for the Yoruba Nation, a peaceful one. Kende Oseni, this man always sends me so many WhatsApp on the messages. He's so, bombarding me with all the YouTube messages that he wants me to watch. Adedayo, good evening to you. Engineer Bukola also say good evening. King Jordan, all hail Biafra. Nnamdi Kanu must be released after the government kidnapped him and rendition him back into Nigeria, and his lawyers are fighting to get his bail out. Babayo, good evening to you. Green for God, good evening. And I guess we've done justice on every one of you. If I haven't mentioned your name, bear with us. And let me quickly say good evening to those of you that are watching us on the Instagram this evening. Quite a number of you as well. And those of you on the MixLR. So now let's come back to the conversation. You've listened to Jonathan. You've listened to Aisha Yusuf. You've listened to the content of the letter that was written to President Muhammadu Buhari. And just for me to complete this section quickly, let's go back into it as well. Also, if Nigerians are tired of staying together, there shouldn't be any fight. Let us dissolve Nigeria. In 2020, 2 years ago, Alhaji Muhammad Mahdi Shehu, the chairman of the dialogue group Kaduna, said that the 1914 amalgamation was done out of mischief without taking into consideration the peculiarities of Nigeria. Nobody thought about that. Maybe they thought we were going to be remaining, keeping mute, with their audacity to merge us together. But this time around is what they call Asiko Sorosoke. Akila, they say, I stand for the M1 Odudu Agbe. Wow. I understand what that means. Good evening to those of you that are watching us from all over the world this evening. And I welcome you once again to Starr Radio UK. So when Alhaji Mohammed says in 2020, the amalgamation was done out of mischief without taking into consideration the peculiarities of Nigeria, and that since independence in 1960, Nigeria has stumbled from one form of calamity or tragedy to another. He added that obviously not even an angel can ever unite Nigeria. So why then do we remain in Nigeria? Good evening to you, Olakunle, my namesake. I just the verse for a year. So for the verse, so this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station. Some people the verse. Imagine the calamity that is going on in Nigeria every day. But 20% of Yorubas are saying, we will save Nigeria, we will keep Nigeria, we will bring Peter Obi, we will bring everybody in. Doris, say good evening to you, Yoruba Nation not going bad. Let's continue. He added, Nigeria has stumbled from one form of calamity or tragedy to another. He added that obviously not even an angel can ever unite Nigeria. Not even Peter Obi can unite Nigeria. Not Atiku can unite Nigeria. And Tinubu that is saying Emilokon cannot unite the Yoruba people into a Nigeria. The best option now is all the senators, the House of Reps should now wind down and let us dissolve Nigeria. And you cannot go into another election with the fake 1999 constitution. It's a military decree, diktat. Let us go to the negotiation table, break the collar, distribute the country to everybody's peace. If we do not do it now, the future generation will curse us. This is by Alhaji Muhammad Mahdi Shehu, the chairman of the Dialogue Group Kaduna. This is the part of the letter that was sent to President Muhammadu Buhari by Professor Banji Akintoye. Mr. President, we Yoruba people have now painfully and upon very careful and deep thinking concluded that the false hope of unity promoted by the British colonial officials and imposed on us all as independence has not been achievable in the past 60 years of independence. Rather, not only has the unity proved impossible to achieve, outright anarchy has taken over. We Yoruba therefore seek to discontinue our association with Nigeria and to do so in an orderly and peaceful manner. As you know, Mr. President, we the Yoruba are well-defined, universal recognized indigenous nation or distinct ethnic group with substantial cultural, linguistic, homogenetic. It is well-known fact that we Yoruba have a rich history of accommodating foreigners and strangers in our land, in our homeland, and extending to them the respect and protection required of civilized peoples, without prejudice to our right, our territorial space and culture. Throughout our history in Nigeria, we have always respected and advocated for fundamental freedoms and human rights for all Nigerians and all Nigerian peoples. We are known worldwide for religious tolerance because we are an ancient civilization with solid modern achievements. In education today and in people with an old tradition of accepting and interacting smoothly and productively with various peoples throughout our history, we can live harmoniously with ethnic and cultural diversity in the same country. But we have painfully concluded that sustained attack by one ethnic group on us and other ethnic groups in the same country and a plan of conquest and subjugation by one ethnic group, Fulani, against the other groups in the same country represent a conclusive negation of existence and legitimacy of Nigeria. We can no longer bear the pain and the indignity of living in constant fear and mourning. We are always in fear. When you go out of your house, you are likely to be kidnapped. The economy is not working for the Yoruba people and Nigerians as a whole. There's no welfare system. But the most important thing is the terrorists has now encroached every part of the Yoruba territory and the remaining part of Nigeria. We can no longer bear the pain and the indignity of living in constant fear and mourning. When you look at what happened in our war, massacre in the broad daylight in the church in Yoruba land. When you look at the killings, the genocide happening by the military in Nigeria, the unity is no longer working. When you look at the northern part of Nigeria, there's massacre going on a daily basis, being both Christians and Muslims that are being killed by the Fulani terrorists. We have been attacked by heavily armed Fulani marauders and militias who have been invading our homeland for many years from the northern part of the country of Nigeria to which we belong. These marauders have relentlessly killed our people, destroying farms. I was actually watching a video on Instagram where in Enugu State, the audacity of the Fulani by putting their cows on the farm, destroying the whole crops in their thousands. And the question then is, can this unity of Nigeria remain together? We can no longer remain together. And thank you so much, Mr. A. Daniel Agumbiade says, please thumb up for this program. Sharon Kate says, hello everyone. I say good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK. All the Biafra and all aid Arewa and those of us that are campaigning for the peaceful dissolution of what we call Nigeria today. So I'm not going to go through all the letters today. We might probably continue it again next week at exactly 15 minutes before 8 p.m. Thank you so much, Dr. Samuel Adebayo. Koiki, I really enjoy your session with Professor Olugulua earlier. Thank you so much. And as we continue to say, that our best option now is we should continue what we are doing. We are not a violent people. We are a peace-loving people that wants to live Nigeria peacefully, just as Professor Banji Akintoye told me when he actually called. I think I've now told you exactly the conversation. What a very powerful father. He called me earlier on this afternoon, and I normally tell him when he called me, we should not speak more than 2 minutes because of a very busy schedule that he has, and he's always happy with that. So each time he calls me, I say, Daddy, 2 minutes, lama fi sọ̀rọ̀, gbogbo tẹ́ bá fẹ́ sọ, ẹ tètè bá mi sọ ní 2 minutes. I don't want to stress you too much, and nobody should be stressing it. Thank you so much to all the groups that are working around the clock, whether you are back in the diaspora that are working, whether you are into the prayer group, whether you are just an ordinary Yoruba that believe that the time is coming up that we should exit Nigeria peacefully. And this is one of the letters that has been put together by Professor Banji Akintoye on behalf of the Yoruba to the federal government. These marauders have relentlessly killed our people, destroying farms and villages, raping and killing our women, just as reason why Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho was saying we can no longer continue to live in a country where we are being marginalized and we can no longer go to our farms. We are more scared returning back to the farm, and there is now famine, hunger in the land. There are no official numbers of our Yoruba people who have been violently killed in these atrocities because the government shows no real concern about the killings. There are still more people that have been killed, but a roughly estimate of about 29,000 is now generally circulating among us, an estimate which many of our people believe to be too low. I'm sure there are more than 29,000 Yoruba people that have been killed. Not just the Yoruba, all the other ethnic groups are being killed as well. Sharon Kate says, declaration. Dizzy Fresh says, never, never again. Mega rally is coming up very soon. Nobody knows the time, but Chief Sunday Adeyemo, Professor Banji Akintoye, Professor Wale Adeniran, Chief Mrs. Modupe Onitiri will all communicate that to us at the appropriate time. Rukayat Amaomi says the bird is not crying like the birds again. No more birds. I mean, you look at the president try to tell the birds to fly away. They are not flying anywhere because there's so much blood in Nigeria. As we are going to leave it tonight on these documents, you can, if you want it, let me know, and you can have a copy where you can keep it for your own as well. Let me now quickly touch on what our father, during an article that was released last month, Professor Banji Akintoye apologized to the slave trade victims in Yoruba land. The leader of the Yoruba self-determination struggle, Professor Banji Akintoye, apologized to the victims of transatlantic slave trade in Yoruba land by appealing to the Almighty to heal the region of the consequence of their harrowing cost placed on the land. So many people that were taken away in that, during the slave trade must have been so bitter, angry, upset. I'll be giving you all the headlines from Nigeria news in just about a few minutes. And also we're talking about all the news coming out of Nigeria on Twitter. Let me see if anybody has also followed us, like I said earlier, on the Star Radio UK. I know where we were before. And yes, I say thank you so much if you are one of those that literally left the platform, went to Star Radio UK Twitter and help us to follow. If you're not doing so, remember, you will not hear this kind of information on the media in Nigeria. So we expect you to follow us on Twitter so that you can have up to date when I'm live. It comes up on you as a notification, and sometimes you'll probably say thank you so much for doing so. So go on Twitter on Star Radio UK and follow us, and so that every Monday to Friday you'll also have opportunity to listen to me during the program. It's coming up to 12 minutes before 8, and just about half an hour more I'll be ending the program. But before that, we still have a lot to discuss And let me go back to what Professor Banja Akintoye, the letter they released last month. He said some of the victims during their ordeals in those days placed several curses on the present and future generations of Yoruba people. Imagine during the slave trade. I visited the slave museum in Liverpool, where my friend that the DJ that died, that we've been talking about. I was there last year, and thank you so much to all those that welcome us during that visit to Liverpool. It was fantastic. I can't wait to be back again, to that region or that beautiful city, But there is somewhere in Liverpool that remind us who we are as slaves. We were brought in the ship closer to the sea. So many churches during those eras. Most of those churches were operating the slave trade. And so many Nigerians today do not understand this history because the history has been purposely removed from the curriculum in all the secondary schools and even in the university, the polytechnics, and nobody's talking about history anymore. And that is why somebody like Aisha Yusuf is saying we should talk about, let's talk Nigerian talk. What is Nigerian talk? There's nothing called Nigerian talk. Good evening to you, Mr. Olamile Konzobo. Good evening to you, Ogunde Abolaji. Ugo says Yoruba and Igbo should be very careful this time around to avoid Fulani agenda to come to the pass because they have positioned Tinubu. Look around Obi, all from the southern Nigeria, only Atiku from the north. They have a game plan. You're quite right. And those that are shouting obedience probably do not understand the history of the slave trade that took place where the British government was selling us off. And those that could not make it to the island were thrown into the water, the Atlantic Ocean. But so many youth in Nigeria are getting their PVC, hoping that they will vote Peter Obi or Atiku or Tinubu. And it's a game plan that the Northerners know very well. The Northerners know that they will be divided by giving Tinubu the ticket, by also giving Peter Obi, that is also an agent that is working for the Western world, to divide, the vote in the Southeast. But tonight, on Niger Voices, I say we should not allow that division among us again. I understand a lot of the Yorubas are still very angry with some of the things that happened in the 60s up to the 1967 before the Civil War, but we must be very careful because it was the British government that wanted the unity of Nigeria by putting us together in 1914. If there was not Nigeria in 1914, there would not be any reason why we should have an independent of Nigeria. We will probably have an Igbo nation, a Yoruba nation, and an Arewa nation or Hausa nation, and we would have been doing very well even up to now. There are countries that are not even doing very well, and yet their citizens are moving around with their passport, with their identity. Our own real identity has been hidden right underneath Nigeria today. Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. So those that went through that era is why Professor Banja Akintoye wrote that letter to kind of appease to their souls to forgive us. Because all that is going on right now in what we call the Yoruba territory seems that there's a lot of people that are angry. We must not also forget those that the government killed by the governors Babajide Sanwo-Olu that knew that the military that is working on behalf of the federal government and also the national leader of the party, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, knew that there was a peaceful gathering at the Lekki toll gate. The light was switched off and the military, in the midst of the national anthem of Nigeria, with the green, white, green flag, massacre took place and there's all kind of blood that was spilled. Even we have people like Kemi Olunloyo that is trying to distort the information. We have people that are saying that there was never a killing that happened in Lekki toll gate. Can you imagine somebody like Kemi Olunloyo? He said, I'm going back to the letter that was written by Professor Banja Akintoye once more. Once again, you have been watching Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Every Wednesday, this is how we do it, where we take you home. If you're going on, loud the music. Good evening to you, Mrs. Ojora Elizabeth, and I hope you already received your flag in France, because you haven't given me the update yet, or maybe it's still en route to you. If you haven't got your flags, for those of you that want flags, reach out to me, especially if you're in diaspora. You can get the smaller version, and you can help us to produce more for those back home. They're costing 40p if you're sending it home, and that means we will make it on your behalf, and you can do as minimum of 200 pieces. You can even direct us to send it to those that you want in your local government. So if you want us to produce the flag for you, get in touch with me. Like I said, 40p. But if you're just buying one, or probably less than 50, we'll probably give you a bit of discount, and that means you will not pay 40p. Because a lot of people might think that 40p, wow, Koiki, I need 200 pieces, I want you to send it to US, I'm not going to charge you 40p. That is the production price, and that means for those that we are sending back home, because people that we are giving at home, we are not selling it to them. Once again, a very good evening. Let's go back to the letter again. He said some of the victims during their ordeals in those days placed several curses on the present and the future generations of the Yoruba people over the unholy collaboration between few leaders of the race, then with the Portuguese and the Dutch businessman who came to Africa to buy slaves in the 18th century. Professor Banji Akintoye, in an open letter to the Yoruba people, which he personally signed, said he had the inspiration that the spirit of those sold into slavery for peanuts to the Portuguese and the Dutch people are behind the lack of growth, development, progress, peace, and unity in Yoruba land and among the Yoruba people. Professor Banji Akintoye lamented that the documentation from the multiple reports indicated that over 1 million Africans, including the Yoruba people, were exported to Europe and America as slaves by the Europeans, who brought salt in exchange for slaves to Africa through the collaboration of some of the local warriors. According to him, the curses placed on the Yoruba people by the victims of the transatlantic slave trade, many of whom jumped into the Atlantic Ocean during their first trip to Europe and America, need to be cleansed for the Yoruba people to enjoy God's favor, cohesion, unity, and progress. The letter reads, "Dear Yoruba people, my name is Professor Banji Akintoye. This letter comes to you as an overdue apology for the several generations of the Yoruba race that are dispersed around the world. This is not an ordinary letter. It is an episode born out of a deep revelation and shared by many children of the God of Yoruba extraction all over the universe. Predicting colonizing and slavery in Africa in the 18th and the 19th centuries, the Yoruba race had engaged in internal conflict, resulting in marauding intra-tribal and interfaith warfare. Historians mostly agree that such civil unrest did not result in commercialization of human captivities until the era of colonialism and slave trade on African soil. Yet, we have to agree that the foreigners did not do this without cooperation of some of the indigenous people, the Yoruba. According to the revelation referenced above, a segment of the captive Yoruba sons and daughters hurled into slavery look back and place a curse on the land. Imagine those that were being taken away, in that era during the 18th and 19th century, placed so much curse because they were angry that they were taken away from the land. And we pray for their souls all the time. The people that violated their humanity by selling them into slavery. Furthermore, Holy Spirit revealed that some among the Yoruba captives committed suicide by jumping off the captive ships into their death deep into the Atlantic Ocean, while others simply placed the curse and endured the shame by continuing the captive journey. For these, the need for reconciliation, unreserved apologies is real and past due. Against this backdrop of atrocity, of historical proportions unleashed against the people of Black Africa, which escalated into a full-blown slavery. The current generation of the Yoruba seek to tender unreserved, heartfelt apology on behalf of our past generations, of our forefathers, monarchs, and chiefs who participated in the slavery. There was a lot of Yoruba people, we have to understand, that was also involved in this slave trade. So many of them was involved directly or indirectly. Those who folded their hands in helplessness and hopelessness, those who looked the other way when they could have spoken or stood against the protectors and the perpetrators, rather, of this enormous crime against humanity. Those who cooperate or benefited from the sales of their brothers and sisters, children, parents, and friends and neighbors. People were sold just for nothing less than a mirror. I saw some of that during my visit to the Slave Museum in Liverpool last year. In all reality, a crime half a millennium old may seem forgotten and forgettable. Perhaps it may even be misconstrued as negligible, and perceived as having outlived the statute of limitation. Yet, as the Yoruba often says in the context of their indigenous rhetoric, the one who passed first to mess up the fact may forget. Ẹni tó yàgbẹ́ kò ní rántí, ẹni tó kó òun ló máa rántí. But the one who had to clean up the mess will never forget. Even if the smell is gone, the thought of the blemish and inner violation may linger. Having said all that, we say it from the bottom of our heart that we sincerely understand. If you still nurse the hurt and feel the pain after all the years, may heal the wound, but the scare may always remain. All we can say is to appeal that you please forgive our forefathers on whose behalf we tender these apologies, and to forgive us of our offsprings, of our erring progenitors. May God bless you, lighten your burdens, redeem time for you and generations to come after you and heal our land. Above all, may the Lord of the universe forgive the Yoruba race, move it into a new dispensation in his own onward march towards the attainment of redemption, enjoyment of his potential. Amen. And that letter was put together by Professor Banji Akintoye. Gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n kó lẹ́rú níjọ́ náà ní 19th century, àtàwọn tó fọwọ́ sí, àtàwọn tó mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, kí Elédùmarè Ọlọ́run ọba kó dáríjì wọ́n, kó dẹ̀ bá wa dáríjì àwọn tí wọ́n ti lọ náà. Ní tí lẹ́tà yẹn ń ṣàlàyé fún wa ni pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó kó nínú ẹrú níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn tí wọ́n kó sínú omi nítorí pé wọ́n wò pé kàkà kó kó wa lẹ́rú àyè àpárá wa ni. Àwọn míì wọ́n gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ pé kí wọ́n kó àwọn lẹ́rú, wọ́n fi shame pé kí àwọn fi di ẹrú. Imagine ẹni tó bá jẹ́ ẹrú níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn, òun ló lè sọ èyí tó ṣẹlẹ̀. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ìlú tí a wá ń wò nísìnyí lénìí gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwọn colonial masters, àwọn lo àwọn ẹrú yẹn láti fi ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n kàn wá ń develop lé lórí nísìn. When you look at the London Underground, it was done by the slaves during that era. And that is why a lot of us are saying that we can no longer continue to be deceived anymore. I want you also to continue to pray for those souls that passed on during those era. It is not just the Yoruba. The Igbo were also taken away. The Northerners were taken away as well. And one thing is, we will never forget those that were taken away. We are just 2 minutes away out of, we're just, 27 minutes away before the end of the program tonight. And as I come back again to you, as you're watching me tonight, let us remember that, yes, we will consider those of you back home that have not received your flag. Remember that these are not in a million flags that we're talking here, but we're trying our best to make sure that the little that we have on the ground, we can share with so many of you. If you have not heard about the Ominira GoFundMe account, I'm going to be talking about that again tonight. It is a fund that is being raised to support the Yoruba self-determination movement, and we hope that a lot of you will contribute towards it as well. If you go on the GoFundMe, or if you follow the link that we're sharing now, you would also be able to donate your own little. You will not also be able to follow the link and make your own donation as well. Once again, you've been watching Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Tomorrow is the Property Hour on Star Radio UK. Make sure you tune in to the Property Hour. But every Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. GMT, you will join me when I give all the news headline from Nigeria. And I'm going to be doing those as well, later on tonight before we go. I'm also going to be looking at what is trending on Twitter as we continue to monitor all the news coming out of Nigeria. There's always a bad news in Nigeria, as 23 million Nigerians have lost their jobs under this current government. 23 million Nigerians doesn't have a job as we speak. Thank you so much, Laide Olakunle. Happy Rashid, say good evening to you. Also, if you'd like to donate to the Yoruba Central account, also remember you can do so where they have a very good website where you can also make your donation as well. The website is known as www.ysdm.org. Again, the link is going to be put out for those of you that would like to contribute to the central account. The central account also is as important so that we can have enough money towards the campaign and the movement for the Yoruba nation coming exit out of Nigeria before 2023. A lot of people have been asking that, how is it going to be possible to come out of Nigeria? What about my money in my bank account? What about my certificate that I had in Nigeria? All these questions are just the minority questions that will be dealt with. When a nation eventually comes through, you will still be a Yoruba man with your certificate, but it will just be updated into the new platform known as Yoruba Kingdom as at the appropriate time. But before all this can happen, there will be a lot of activities. Some of these activities is what is actually going on right now. More people are discussing Yoruba Nation. More people are checking out, to find out, why should we be part of Yoruba Nation and not the ongoing political, situation that is happening in Nigeria. The politicians are just trying to renew the fake 1999 constitution. The politicians are trying to force the fake amalgamation on us. And as everyone knows, all the politicians in Nigeria knows that the unity of Nigeria can no longer work. And the only option now is we should allow Nigeria to dissolve without any problem as well. Once again, let me quickly give you some of the headline coming out of Nigeria at this particular hour on Wednesday edition, on Niger Voices. Once again, my name is Olayomi Koiki. Over 100 Nigerian communities destroyed by the flood. What a very sad news coming again out of Nigeria. According to NEMA, Mr. Ahmed pointed out that the humanitarian crisis in the country were threat to achieving the sustainable development goals. Let me tell you something. The government have never achieved anything in 16 years of the PDP and the almost 8 years of the APC. So all these sustainable development goals are just all kind of lies and making use money out of Nigeria. Global energy transition. The United States wants Nigeria to commit to jettison fossil fuel, says envoy. Atiku Okowa hold closed-door meeting with Seyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, in Ibadan, as they continue their campaign for the political trail that we believe is not the appropriate time right now. Supreme Court dismissed Ogba, affirms OD as the Ebonyi PDP candidate. Politicians are all the same. It's just lie. Court have now fixed Baba Ijesha case to the 19th of September next week, to rule on Baba Ijesha bail application. Hush Puppy in the United States of America demands sentence delay over Abba Kyari criminal indictment. He doesn't want them to give him what they have to give him right now. Abuja hashtag NSAS panel award 289 million naira to 74 victims of police brutality. Plateau local government chairman impeached over alleged stealing 300 million. Imagine a country where a local government chairman steals up to 300 million naira. Wow. All hail Nigeria. Okada rider gets life imprisonment for defiling a 9-year-old. What a very sad one coming out as well. Now, more headline before we start. In just about 28 minutes. Are you resignation achievable? Article replies Sheyi Makinde. A woman was robbed. A woman robbed bank to pay sister cancer treatment. Wow. that one get kill Lego. Fuel scarcity has now hit River State as tanker driver protest. Imagine River State, where is one of the crude oil vicinity, but yet an average Nigerian cannot get a petrol this morning. Cancer, lack of data worries Kogi medical expert. Gombe woman protest killing of husband by herdsmen. There's nothing called herdsmen. These are terrorists. A lady has now tried to offer the daughter of Ike Ikiremadu kidney, and the family kicks. I'm not sure why the family kicks against that as well. Once again, the vice president slot, Okowa most qualified. IU tells the critics quite a lot of problems in the PDP camp. Also, as we are winding down in just about 21 minutes, I say good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome to Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's go to more business news coming out of Nigeria. The Senate, the ministers disagree over 12.43 trillion budget deficit. There's so much debt in Nigeria. You wonder if Nigeria does not break up, there'll be more problem. How Nigeria can save 400,000 barrel of crude oil export is a mess in that crude oil and the NNPC. Nigerian cinema record 378 million revenue in August. Bank ration forex sales as scarcity is biting. When it comes to this dollar and the situation in Nigeria, let me tell you, you can't get any dollar. And those of you that are sending money sometimes, please do not send dollar to me. It looks like I've got like some few dollars in my account, which I might not be able to have access to. So if you're sending money to us, make sure you are not sending dollar, because it's a process that is not going to be able for us to withdraw that kind of money. If you're sending money to our Naira account, make sure you specify that it has to be Naira. If you're sending dollar, the money is just going to be there and it's as useless as we cannot make use of it. Even an average Nigerian today do not have access to get the dollar out of Nigeria, and I'm not sure why we should keep Nigeria in the first place. Let me remind you again what Jonathan actually said as we continue to ask, is the unity of Nigeria still workable?
About how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have the conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation, and the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This are credited to Sir Amado Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. He thought, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country. But the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country. This is...
Well, the Nigerian unity is just what the British want. And the question tonight on Star Radio UK, 30 minutes past, is should we continue with the unity of a country that is not working? Nigeria is no longer working. The unity is fake. And if anybody is thinking that we should go for 2023 election, on what basis, especially on the fraudulent document known as the 1999 Constitution? My name is Olabiko Ike, and you've been watching and listening to us on Star Radio UK, which is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's been a very busy week, in UK, especially after the death of Queen Elizabeth II. May her soul rest in perfect peace. As the lining state have just, started at the Westminster, where there's a huge queue as that is going on as we speak right now. One thing we can also remind ourselves that as Yoruba people, whatever we are doing, we have the right according to the United Nations. We're not running anything that we should be concerned or scared about, and that is something that we must always remember, that asking for our nation is not something that we should be concerned about. So once again, we say thank you so much to each and every one of us that continue, to once again, sorry about that. That as we are winding down on this segment, I'd like to appreciate each and every one of you that have joined us. It is a very tough time, especially as we continue, to review more Nigerians that are being killed, deliberately, and that is something that it's painful to so many of us that says that we should no longer remain one. The unity of Nigeria is negotiable. Nobody should say that we cannot negotiate ourselves out of Nigeria. We were never one. We were a kingdom up to 1914, when the British decided that they will put us together and call it Nigeria. Yes, people might say that we can still one thing we've got to understand is that a lot of Nigerians might not understand all these conversation, because the media in Nigeria has been gagged by, the Minister for Information, Lai Mohammed. He does not literally want as many Nigerians to know, the truth about the current situation in Nigeria. So that literally means that, we should continue to enlighten. We should continue, to educate, those at home about the kind of history that needs to be told. And one thing is, if you allow history to be distorted, we will get this issue that we will have to come back again after years of not saying exactly what it is. So we will continue, to tell the world, the problems back in Nigeria. We will continue to emphasize on that. And as I'm going to be winding down, I will be now taking my next track, which I love so much. Nigeria, Orile Demi by Sister Janet is one track that I love so much, as is a very powerful one. But one thing is, we all have a role to play, and that role is something that we should not be shy away, especially the current the situation where so many Nigerians do not understand what is Nigeria. If you understand what is Nigeria, you clamor for a nation out of Nigeria. Let's enjoy this. Once again, a good evening. Once again, you've been watching and listening to Star Radio UK on Niger Voices. I'd like to say thank you so much to my producer, Mr. Archie Arman and Frank David. And tomorrow, I'll be joining them again at 11 o'clock doing the morning show. We'd like to appreciate everyone that have joined us on this edition of Niger Voices. This has been coming up every Wednesday for the last 5 years. From wherever you are watching us, it's now 20 minutes past 8 p.m. and I'm just 10 minutes before the program ends tonight. I'll be taking some of your comments again before we go on another quick round one. I say good evening to you, Mrs. Fatima Mustafa. Say God bless you all. Mrs. Amana Alhaja. I say thank you so much. Ekabo Sorieto. Boki Yawa Alaja Idiatu Muraino Folari Ekabo Sorieto. I'm not sure the account that you're asking for, Mr. Folalu. Maybe if you want to emphasize again, probably maybe when I was talking about, I think that's just my first bank account that do not pay. Some people have been paying dollar into it. We will not be able to get the dollar to use for the job that we are doing. If you want to donate, make sure you are donating in Naira or ask for more details if you are supporting the media work that we are doing. Like I said, 12 hours, not even up to that. It's been a hectic one getting the news of two very close people that I know. One sleep accident died, may the soul rest in peace of the wife, the children, and one committed suicide in Liverpool, leaving behind 4 children and a wife. Ẹni tó bá ti fọwọ́ sínú òmìnira àti Yorùbá Central account. If you don't know it, just ask. I will send that to you. Thank you so much, Patrick Part. How can we donate to security account? I'll be putting that information out again. All you need to do is go to the GoFundMe that has been set up. It is only one GoFundMe, and that GoFundMe will say Òmìnira Yorùbá 2022. Click on that, and that will allow you to donate whatever you want to donate. And a lot of people are saying that we need the sort code and account number. All I can tell you is they don't have sort. Thank you so much once again for the super chat. Our mother, Comfort, for always putting that super chat. Thank you so much. And also to all the health workers in UK, whether you're a carer, you work on the NHS floor, or you are just an administrative in that sector, we respect you, we love you. And if you're working in the public sector, whether as a bus driver, a rail truck, especially some of you, I met a brother at the Shepherd's Bush station. He saw me, I'm like, I think I recognize this face. So I say, you probably saw me so many times on YouTube. Like I said, it's a tough time for families that have lost so many people, especially in Nigeria, through the terrorism that is taking place. And that is why we are saying, let us get out of Nigeria quickly before it becomes more dangerous. Thank you so much once again. Ayoton You say, good job, more anointment. Thank you so much. And to all our religious leaders across board, from the Muslim to tradition, the Christianity, we are saying that the freedom of the Yoruba people is nothing more than non-negotiable. Thank you so much, those of you on the Instagram. Emmy Ladi, you say, well done. Thank you so much. Long time. Well, I've always been here. Probably maybe you're not aware that I'm here. And thank you so much, Adekunle Plenty. Dara.joe, thank you so much. Oluwaseyi, thank you so much on Instagram. Foreign World, Axoba 26 or Axo 26. I'm not sure whether that means Axoba. And to all the Axoba of the 1995 side, I also sympathize with us as the loss of our very great friend, a brother, a father that died on Sunday. I won't mention the name. I'll just keep that to myself. But I pray for the family. A very sad situation. I say thank you so much once again, those of you that have also prayed for the family. In 6 minutes, I'll be handing over back to my manager and my producer back in the studio. But for now, you've asked that question, how can we donate to security account from Nigeria? GoFundMe is not going okay. I'm not too sure how you will be able to do that. But if you have friends in UK or America, you can speak to them, give them the Naira, and allow them to make the payment. They can actually have your name on the donation, and then they can share the receipt with you. I think that's the only option for those of you in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Darius Samuel. Thanks, Koiki, for opening our eyes, just like Bamiosha Igbowofure. Chief Sunday Adeyemo is going to be leading the mega rally at the appropriate time, but it's going to happen this year. Thank you so much, those of you that are also watching us on Olayomi Koiki on Instagram. Thank you so much, Funky4279, Sheon_Akins, Tio Life 2014, Ola Suko 585. And I say thank you so much once again to those of you that have joined us. This music was put together by our sister Janet, and you can listen to that Orile de Mi, which literally means my own nation. We appreciate all the groups that are working, and let me quickly give us a more update before we go on some of the activities that we should be expecting that is coming up very soon in Yoruba land. Obasa Sabo Mega Rally, Abeokuta North, is coming up this Saturday, the 17th of September 2022, and this was put together by one of our mother in Ireland, Dublin, where single-handedly she sponsored that. You can do the same thing. Sponsor a small rally or awareness door to door. We need more posters, we need flyers, we need stickers, we need as many souvenirs to be going into the the Yoruba land for more awareness and campaigns. So thank you so much, as we are looking forward to the mega small rally that is coming up on the Saturday 17th. Also on Thursday tomorrow, if not Friday, I believe the Isenye Run Okeogun is also going to be coming up. Agege Mega Rally is coming up as well in conjunction with all the Yoruba Nation agitator. That is a special movement all over Lagos. That is coming up next week on the 23rd of September. And if you'd like to find out more information, contact this following number, AK 070-6478-2388 or Sadiq Osha 080-5093-4559. Anuka 080-222-64068 or Elijah 080-28281-232. This is coming up the Ìṣọ̀kan Ọmọ Yorùbá Lagos chapter, which is also in conjunction. So this is a mega rally that is coming up. Also, this coming week, next week, Ondo State is having their own rally as well, and we're looking forward to that as well. As we're also speaking right now, there is an ongoing rally going on, organized by the Yoruba Nation Diaspora Mega Rally in America, a million march. We'll expect as many Yoruba to also participate in there. This is all happening at the location Dag Amscott Plaza, 1st Avenue, 47th Street corner, Manhattan, New York, between yesterday up to the 27th on a daily basis. Let us make sure that we have our regalia. Let's try and see as many people can ask us questions, especially the journalists. Remember, the 77th General Assembly is going on there, and it's a very busy one. If you'd like to find out more information, please contact the Yoruba Nation Rep contact Moses Abiodun Ojo, the secretary, on +1 347 301 8360, or the PRO +1 718 808 5914, or Prophet Ayodele Ologunoluwa, the chairman, Yoruba Nation Diaspora Mega Rally, +1 803 846 1116. All these, and if you have any more information, the California is also going to be having a mega rally that I've not got the date yet. As soon as I have that date, I'll be communicating that back to each and every one of us as well. So make sure you remember to tune in as well. So as I am now handing over to my producer back in the studio, let me see if I have one more people that have said anything on our YouTube, and let me quickly see if anyone has actually subscribe to the Starr Radio UK as well. And I say thank you so much for being part of the program tonight. And I can always say, humanity is something that we are fighting for. We are not terrorists, as is being probably portrayed in Nigeria. Fighting. Oh, thank you so much. We had the numbers went up a little bit, even though I expected to go a little bit more. Make sure you follow us. If you want to catch up with me every Wednesday, you must also follow the Starr Radio UK on Twitter and all the social media handle. As I now hand over to my producer, Mr. Archie, back in the studio, I say thank you so much. And the next track that is coming is Arabani. Arabani was put together as well by our sister Janet, and this is a very powerful track that was done for Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho. Chief Sunday Adeyemo will be leading the Yoruba Mega Rally at the appropriate time when it's announced the date. Thank you so much. It's one of those Wednesdays again. These are something that you can do without any problem, even though a lot of Antoine, you don't understand why we say we should leave Nigeria. And I'm so thirsty and I need to drink a bit of water. But you can't do all these. How do especially in not so much it's quite a lot of money you're spending just to listen to us, and we appreciate it. Internet will be a human right when we have our own nation. Internet, tell your mom that I finished. Huh? She's sleeping. Okay. And when I'm live, you should know better. All this noise is too much.
What's it mean?
Yeah, you are just making too much noise. When I'm doing with my Yoruba people, they can understand that I have, but Starr Radio should know better. So but deliberate act òun ni wọ́n ń ṣe. All this tá à ń ṣe yìí kò ń ṣe big deal. I'm not joking. I'm náà pé lójú àwọn tó wà ń lé ọmọ àdáyé pé ọmọ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ ṣe ń ṣe ẹ̀kọ́ ìjókòó bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ nínú studio kò ń ṣe big deal. The beauty of the bọ̀bọ̀ kan mo kàn fi torí pé mo dọ̀rọ̀ mo capture video kékeré but mo ò lè pò mo fẹ́ post video yẹn ó wá ṣe nǹkan kan lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ lé wa níbí báyìí. Mo ṣáà rí martin bá ti rí gadget I always increase it kí ló wá ṣe ẹmọ tó wá ṣe building tó wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ wa building tiwa àti the next building machine yẹn ó máa calculate gbogbo building yẹn ó ní tó bá jẹ́ pé normally tẹ́lẹ̀ ó ní 5 days làwọn máa fi wá ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn 5 days. I'm sure those that are into what's it called building and construction will understand what I'm talking about. Machine yẹn ó kọ̀ pèsè machine yẹn wá ń lọ 360 degree it captures so tóun bá wá ṣe tán á wá lọ gbé fún according to him behalf of council ó wá ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn so òun ṣe máa dá padà fún the architect so architect ló ṣe máa wá yọ ṣàṣàlàyé gbogbo ẹ̀ and you wonder àwa ṣì wà níbi pé ebi ń pa wá basic water omi lásán clean water ààrẹ mu nílé clean water ààrẹ mu nílé and a lot of people still say Nigeria that will work and I'm asking how is it going to work? It's all lies. I don't want to stay too long because it's been a lot of it's just one of those days again. I believe the media is already on, the world media, so you can go and listen to what they have to discuss tonight by going on to the page. I believe here they are live already. Let me see. Simon Ekpa is on. I guess my ego is also on when it comes on as well. Baba my building is live. So quite a lot of people is live. So Yeyedara is live as well. Ǹjẹ́ ti gbọ́ pé Ọba Ológùdù and Yorùbá Nation? That's what Yeyedara is discussing right now. So there's always something that you always catch up with. But one thing is, I can't say, okay, be on Yorùbá World Media till kickstart. So ẹ kí mi máa, ẹ kí mi tún lọ relax. Ẹ ṣe gan ni bàbá wa sí Akínyẹlé nínú Akínyẹlé. Ẹ pé Yorùbá mi gan get as it be. All painful that àwọn tó wọ́n lé I mean yeah, quantity survey don't pay àbí mo kàn wọ ọgbọ́n yẹn pé níjọ́lá máa dé ní stage báyìí àwọn táì ṣe títí táì ṣe kìíní machine yẹn òun kàn jókòó ní gbé ipad dání kìíní ẹ̀ kàn lọ tọ́ni ó kàn lọ boom 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 gbà tó yá mo rí ó tuntun move wá síbí báyìí. I did a short video but I'll just probably delete the video. People cannot understand it. Mo ṣe mú wa lórí rédíò so gbàtẹ́ ń pè mo dẹ̀ ṣe wà on by lórí program so kaka sọ̀rọ̀ later mo wà lórí program. All right. There's a program coming up tomorrow. I'm group until they've got a prayer, 2 hours prayer that is coming up tomorrow. Yoruba Nation Prayer Group US. So darapọ̀ mọ́ wọn ní ọ̀la lágbára Ọlọ́run. Okay, they're confirmed. Okay, sir. So I'm going to set up the Zoom for them. So tomorrow, time to my bẹ̀rẹ̀ by Prophet Dr. Larry Ajiwole, I'm the coordinator. So it's going to be tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. As well. So Omaje 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Houston time. Atimawa 1 a.m. Anyway, all I just have to do is just start the Zoom for them. They can do that. It's gonna be a long weekend. because timing is time tí a ti wà lóru ní UK, so 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. ní Yorùbá time or Nigerian time. Tí sọ bí ẹ ti rí flag gbà ó yá wa ọ̀jọ́ra mo bí náà lẹ́ǹkan lórí program bí ẹ gbọ́. So this is coming up from tomorrow, September 16. So it's going to be a long weekend for me. I might don't be tired though, because no retreat, no surrender. No. Yeah, it's just because of the deaths of these two people that came to my notice. It's kind of a bit of, it's just one of those things. So I can post a sorry. So Yoruba Nation Prayer Group US. Lọ́mà organize eléyìí, so a máa gbé transmission yẹn lọ́la lágbára Ọlọ́run fún wọn. So mo ní láti bá wọn set up Zoom. Let me share this out. So if you come across this, also share it out as well. 2 hours péré náà la máa fi ṣe prayer yẹn. You will not be able to join the Zoom, but you'll be able to watch and pray along with us. But prayer náà la need. Wàlátà. The kúrò mi ṣáà bó ti wà ń bíṣẹ́. So yẹn máa wáyé ní láti ọ̀la títí di Sunday, so máa jẹ́ 1 a.m. so ìpálọ̀ ni màá máa sùn ní ẹ̀ tó bá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ kò tí n bá ti set up ara ìjókòó bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà kó máa fara balẹ̀ gbọ́n tó bá dẹ̀ ti ṣe tán I close the transmission yẹn, so I have to be awake throughout the period. Àwọn Ìjẹ̀bú parapọ̀ wọ́n ti set up Yorùbá Nation group kan, so gbogbo ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú pátápátá ló ń pè ó kí ṣẹ̀délé ní pẹ̀lẹ́ kwátàrọ̀. Sorry, I thought I sent you a message. I have received it since August 26. Okay, all right, very good. Adúpẹ́ fọlọ́run. Gbogbo ẹni tí ẹ fẹ́ flag ní abroad, ẹ bá ṣe ní ìdẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ̀. Flag yẹn la fi ń support àwọn tó à ń ṣe nílẹ̀. You look stressed. N la máa ṣe sí rẹ̀. Mo dẹ̀ ti sun bí ṣe wọlé báyìí nìkan bíi mo lọ bá ọmọ ọdún àmọ́ post letter àmọ́ ṣe 1 or 2 things. I slept 2 hours before the studio. We should get popcorn. Then kí ni mo ṣe eléyìí ó ti jẹun mo tún mu ice cream mo tún ránṣí tó mú ẹ ó ṣe jẹ kí ló jẹ nísìnyí ó jẹ chicken nugget and chips, and you are now using ice cream to settle down. Basic things of life. Kí ni àfọwọ́ ọ̀nà freezer mo fẹ́ ice cream kọ̀ọ̀kan mu ice cream ní Nàìjíríà olówó ló mú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn wọ́n ti ṣèkà fún wa gan, but àwọn tó wà nílé wọ́n ṣe pé wọ́n fi ká gba Yorùbá Nation, àwọn kankan wà skeptical pé ọmọ ọ̀dà pé there's another agenda or you know all these foolish thoughts. Ẹ fẹ́ gba Yorùbá Nation ṣé kò ń ṣe pé agenda kan agenda olóyè fún wa bẹ́ẹ̀ pé ká change identity wa òun ti kà síta yìí àwọn bàbá tó tẹ̀ sọ pé àwọn gbogbo wọn jọ ṣe gbogbo wọn mọ̀ pé kò sí kankan gbogbo lẹ́tà yẹn lélẹ̀ wọn náà wájú mi. So I need flag at Ọ̀yọ́ Aláàfin. Okay, ẹ ṣe sùúrù à ń try pé kí flag yẹn kó carry but ẹ mọ̀ but èyí tó máa délé nísìn lábá ti clear. I think that should help us a little bit, to push a little bit. Koiki dey use Marugbo tapon kí ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ kí ló ń jẹ́ Marugbo oríṣiríṣi. So àwọn tó wà nílé wọ́n mọ̀ pé Nàìjíríà ò ṣiṣẹ́ but they are kind of skeptical pé ọmọ ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe politics. Yorùbá Nation ṣe politics tẹ̀ ń ṣe politics mo sọ fún yín pé politics ẹ̀bà àtàmàlà lẹ̀ ń ṣe nílé politics chop and chop. Mo ń wo Àtíkù pẹ̀lú àwọn tó lọ kí àti ọmọ bàbá Ìjẹ̀bú ṣé ọmọ bàbá Ìjẹ̀bú ni bàbá rẹ̀ tó lómi ṣé ládìlẹ̀ ń pè yẹn. They are criminals. Bàbá 419 ní gbogbo wọn ẹni kó ìkìlọ̀ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ lọ wo project tó ṣe sí ṣáìdì Ìjẹ̀bú yẹn tọkọ̀ wálẹ̀ fún gbogbo wọn àwọn bá yẹn talẹ̀ táwọn bàbá ti gba Ghana must go talẹ̀ fún gbogbo wọn dànù bí wèrè. Petrolex ẹ lọ find out bí ó ṣe ń function nísìnyí. It's meant to be the biggest farm tank in Africa Coffee gbowó níbí gbowó lọ́ngbà loan níbẹ̀, big, and they do big boys where they run debt on behalf of you and me. Ìwọ wá nísìnyí wọ́n fi gba visa, wọ́n ní fún ẹ visa because àwọn politicians àtàwọn olè businessman yìí wọ́n ti fi Nàìjíríà wọ́n ti fi lo pánpán, wọ́n ti gba bí bọ́ọ̀lù. Ṣẹ́rí visa tọkọ máa ń ṣù fáwọn èèyàn tẹ́lẹ̀ hardly ní àwọn tó ń rí sí tó ṣe ń rí visa gbà. Gbogbo àwọn ọmọ bàbá Ìjẹ̀bú yẹn 419 ní gbogbo wọn. 419 òun ni gbogbo wọn pátápátá látòkè délẹ̀. Gbogbo àwọn ọmọ bàbá Ìjẹ̀bú yẹn from top to bottom. So if you think that you would survive in Nigeria, you can't. Kàkà kí Nigeria grow, own ditch, own lọ sílẹ̀, eat more fruit. Oh yeah, I do a lot of fruit. I love fruit. I love a lot of fruit. So àwọn tó wà lé wọ́n mọ̀ títọ́, wọ́n mọ̀ pé we should ọlọ́run tẹ̀ ní fún wọn ṣe, wọ́n máa para wọn máa jà ní àti wíkì àti gbogbo wọn. Àwọn tó wà nílé mọ̀ pé tá a bá kúrò ní Nàìjíríà òun ló máa pé gbogbo wa, but they are just kind of like ṣe kàn ṣe pé ìdúgbò iná agenda. These are the things tí wọ́n ti gbèrò sí wọn lọ́kàn for a very long time. Okay, wọ́n tó ní òtẹ̀ ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wọn tẹ̀ ń ṣe meeting, let's even talk. Èyí tẹ̀ ń sọ pé ẹ máa ń ṣe meeting politics ládùúgbò, kí ló gé mi bẹ́ẹ̀ látijọ́ yìí? Ṣé báwọn ẹ ti gbà pé BBC show àwọn kan ní ṣé Ọ̀ṣun state ni wọ́n para wọn nínú pé kọ́ lọ ṣe meeting ìbúlẹ̀ tí kò normal, these are not normal things. Kò dẹ́ ṣe pé gbogbo kinní yẹn ò ní kárí, but it's because àwọn kan tó fẹ́ manipulate àwọn ṣẹ́rí gbogbo àwọn tó mọ̀ nípa politics Nigeria wọ́n mọ ibi tó wò yẹn wà gangan. Ẹ̀yin tí ẹ kàn ń ṣe meeting ẹ̀yin mọ ibi tó wò wà, àwọn tó mọ ibi tó wò wà gangan wọ́n mọ̀. I've never done politics in my life in Nigeria anyway, so but mo kàn máa ń gbọ́ nígbà yẹn kòró ìbò nígbà tí mi wà lẹ́kọ̀ọ́, I think it was very popular as ó fẹ́ jẹ́ chairman nígbà yẹn or something. Ẹ lọ bèèrè lọ́wọ́ ọgbọ́n ayé ní go, ẹ kò ṣara yín ládàá ẹ bara yín jẹ́ tọ̀bẹ bọ́ra yín lára, fọ́gò mọ́ra yín lórí. Ẹ̀yin lè máa sọ́fẹ̀, ẹ̀yin lè máa ní scar. Ẹ wo Andy Uba nísìn, àwọn tó kú nísìn kọ́ lọ́n fọ́run kẹwọn, òun wà nínú bulletproof vehicle, òun mọ tó ń ṣe, òun ò ṣe wà nínú mọ́tò bí irú àwọn yẹn. Andy Uba òun gbọ́n, Andy Uba rò pé òun gbọ́n, kò sí kòrò kò sí ìbò, para wọn. Ẹlòmíì ti kú dànù láàrin àwọn tó ní kò sí ìbò, kòrò fúnra rẹ̀ sì ń jayé lọ báyìí, ó ní immunity, ó ń jayé lọ, àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀dẹ̀ ń gbádùn. Ó dà pọ̀ ọmọ ẹ̀kan náà contest bí a ṣe local government chairman ọmọ ẹ̀ contest àbí house of rep. Set kan máa lọ set kan dé ni òun lọ̀rọ̀ tó wà lẹ́yìn. The whole system is completely messed up. Wọ́n dẹ̀ fẹ́ ká reboot system yẹn. Tí system yẹn lẹ́ǹkọ̀ọ̀kan máa ń crash. Tó bá crash nísìn, ìjọ tó bá crash tí bá wà live máa sọ fún yín. That's tí bá lo fóònù mi. A wá sọ pé ó kọ́ máa show blue, a wá reboot padà. A gbọ́dọ̀ reboot the system yẹn kó tó lè work. And that's what some people don't want us to do. Wọ́n fẹ́ ká reboot system yẹn, Dr. Benjamin. People ṣe wá rí àwọn tó jẹ́ àwọn elite yìí, they know very well the problem. Nǹkan tó wà látẹ̀kọ̀. I don't know if they start radio now, so I can just. Hello.
Hello, sir. Ẹ kálẹ́, sir.
Ẹ kálẹ́ o.
Yeah, Samuel Awa ló ń pè láti Nigeria, Lagos State.
Okay, àgbọ̀n yẹn o.
Nǹkan tí ẹ sọ tèmi tí mo fẹ́ sọ ni pé ẹni èèyàn jẹun ó tún lọ sínú fíríjì ó lọ mu ice cream.
Bẹ́kùbẹ́kù nìyẹn.
Ice cream kẹ́rí ice cream that's in Nigeria today. More or less so yeah, the ice cream.
Sure.
Because ice cream in Nigeria low lè mú kò ṣe fún àwọn mẹ̀kúnnù àtọ́. Kò ṣe fún mẹ̀kúnnù, that's Nigeria. Olówó ló mú ice cream ní Nigeria.
Sure.
So every Nigeria that way bed the buckets of everything. Everybody go lọ. So lẹ́yìn náà jẹun lọ́mọ ice cream kò fi tọ́pù ẹ̀. Mo lè sọ yes kò ti mú ice cream. How much is still ice cream? Àdéjújẹ sálárì ọmọ ajé gbèsè online kí ni wàá fi ń pè dàbàjẹ́ wà online loan. Yàrá 20K. Àbí sọ 23. Àtúgbà 30K. Àbí sọ 35. Because I think àbí yìí.
A lè continue báyìí.
Olóṣèlú sustain wa up to down.
A lè continue báyìí.
Ọ̀gá mi Ọlọ́run ló máa ṣàánú wa o.
A lè continue báyìí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ó kù díẹ̀. Ṣé rí pain tẹ́ ń go through yẹn ẹ túbọ̀ faradé díẹ̀. Confirm ni mo sọ fún yín. Ìgbòho ń bọ̀, ó kù díẹ̀ ni. Kíyàn kan máa pè mí pé Ìgbòho ń lọlé o. Ẹ bá pè má fún ilé pè gidi. Ó kù díẹ̀ ni. Ó kù díẹ̀ tó máa dún tá ni mo sọ. Ó kù díẹ̀. Ó kù díẹ̀ ni. Kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ẹ Samuel. Kíyàn kan máa pè mí pé Yọmí ọ̀ràn gbọ́ pé oní Ìgbòho ń bọ̀ dé. Ó kù díẹ̀ ni mo sọ. Ó kù gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì kan mọ̀ pa ń bọ̀. Gbogbo ẹnu mo fi sọ fún yín gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì kan mọ̀ pàǹbọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà lẹ́yìn oṣù ọ̀rọ̀ pé a máa fi bò pé kìíní ó kù díẹ̀ ni mo sọ ó kù díẹ̀ gbogbo ẹni tó wà lẹ́yìn ká lọ́ọ́ máa búra ká lọ́ọ́ máa gbáradì. Hello mo ti ní kọ́ mọ̀ wá sọ pé mo ti ṣe tán. Okay all right to go please. Ó kù díẹ̀ ni. Gbogbo ẹ máa lanà ni ìgbà tó lanà kan wọn ṣe fún mi pé kíní kan ó kù díẹ̀ ni lọ́wọ́ kó lọ́ọ́ máa gbáradì wọn kàn máa pè mí pé kíní kan ilé ìṣetán ní kíní ó náà kó ti rí iṣẹ́ ó náà kó yàn kan ti fún ní mobile phone ṣé ẹyẹ kankan ẹran ọ̀bọ ìlú náà tó lọ tó náà fi gba certificate yes okay nísìnyí wọn fún ní mobile phone òun ti popular okay fine what about the rest? Everybody ló máa jáde alagba certificate ẹgbà padà kó di popular lórí social media everybody fún lówó ẹ̀wọ̀n tí wọ́n máa dáwó fún yín níbì kan lẹ́yìn wa ẹ ṣe sùúrù ẹ̀yẹ̀kọ́ dé ice cream in total blackout so we will get there ẹ lọ enjoy yàgò yìí dára sí wa ọ̀run ẹgbẹ́ máa bá tèmi lọ ká sọ gbẹ̀dọ̀lá tó bá ti ṣe emergency kọ́ lọ́n kó ṣọ́wọ́ dọ́là. Èmi kọ́ mọ̀ pé Nàìjíríà táwọn wò gbogbo ẹ̀ ó máa rúgbó èmi mọ̀ yẹn gbogbo ẹ̀ máa rúgbó àtàwọn Biafra o àtàwọn Middle Belt o gbogbo ẹ̀ máa rúgbó yẹn ó ń bọ̀ ni ó máa rúgbó ìtẹ́ ìfi gbọ́n yẹn tí ní kí n má sọ síta èmi náà ti gbèsè ó máa rúgbó ta ló tún pè wá láti Nàìjíríà àṣẹ kíákíá fẹ́ tètè máa lọ. Hello. Jẹ́rẹ́ dá sórí ètò nàbẹ̀ kan pè mí lọ́tọ̀ ẹ̀ka lẹ́sà.
Ẹ̀rọ ta ọ ẹ̀kúṣẹ́ náà tó fi ọ́ sí o.
Àmín ni o.
Olúwa máa gbọ́ wọn yín sókè o.
Àmín Jésù.
Ẹ̀rọ ta ọ. Àti láti Agége orúkọ mi ní Sálí Jimá.
Okay.
So a ti rí ọwọ́ yín, a lè rí ìgbìyànjú yín àti àdúró tí yín nípa ìpolongo rádì wa.
Okay kò tọ́pẹ́ fi ẹ́ sílẹ̀.
Láti tẹ̀sí ránṣẹ́ àti rí o.
Okay then no problem.
Yorùbá ní ìṣà now.
No problem I saw the name all right. Àmín all right then àmín no problem kò tọ́pẹ́ bye for now kò tọ́pẹ́ lédè wà ní ká dúpẹ́ fún. Hello. Ẹ kálẹ́ o. Ẹ sà. Mo wà lórí live náà ni. Ẹ̀gbọ́n sókè àgbọ́yìn dáadáa ohùn yẹn lọ́lẹ̀ díẹ̀. À ń gbọ́ yín. ẹ bá gbóhùn sókè dáàdì àgbọ̀yìn rárá ohun yẹn lọ́lẹ̀ gan.
Hello, sir.
Ẹ bá a sọ̀rọ̀ sókè dáadáa àgbọ̀yìn ohun yẹn lọ́lẹ̀.
Hello.
Ẹ go ahead à ń gbọ́ nísìnyí.
Hello.
Ẹ go ahead à ń gbọ́.
Okay. Bóyá recorded show let's say ní ẹ̀ mention pé ó máa loud gan bàbá wọ́n. Honestly speaking, we are also ready. Ẹnìkan sọ̀rọ̀ ó ní pé we are living on online loans. Many of us we are tired. We are working as we say, we take what your leg.
Deliberate act.
What are their life?
It's a deliberate act by the system.
Hello?
Mo ń gbọ́ yín, à ń gbọ́ yín sà. À ń gbọ́ yín.
Okay, now. Ṣé what are your leg? What are the...
Ẹ̀ tó mọ̀ kankan ṣe.
Nílùú ara wa. Nǹkan tí àwọn ará tó mọ̀, àwọn tó ń pè láwọn ní politicians Nàìjíríà, tó mọ̀ ní pé Fúlàní máa rè wọ́n wá pa. Oyè tí wọ́n máa fi support kan.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
The time will come.
Actually, ti lọ nǹkan wà nílò.
Àwọn tó wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. They will now reinforce.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
From Mali, from Niger, from different parts of Africa.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ẹ parọ́.
We now invade both southwest, definitely ilẹ̀ àwọn ni. Wọ́n kúkú sọ́kù, wọ́n sọ pamọ́. But àwọn tí wọ́n rò pé kàkàbá ti wọ́n rò pé àwọn lè pé àwọn máa gbé àwọn nípa fi jẹ́ tó máa escape.
Ẹ fi Fúlàní ṣeré.
Ó máa bọ́ sórí àmì ṣé sórí náà pé àmì because it's gonna be too late for them to go.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Because àwa tí wọ́n rò pé ìsọ́dà tí wọ́n mọ òtítọ́ o ìsọ́dà they don't know the truth. Because I'm afraid they ask if they are facing in this country. But because of what
their own selfish gain ni. Money their own selfish gain ni. Kò ń ṣe pé wọ́n mọ̀. Everyone mọ̀ pé ship wa Nigeria now. Politicians mọ̀ pé ship wa. It's just their own selfish gain. They don't care. Politician doesn't care. Ìyá bá jẹ gbogbo yín kú. Ìṣèjọba kan politician. It's selfish gain ni. Deliberate act ni. It's a deliberate act ẹ̀gbọ́n mi. Ẹ̀gbọ́n yín. Ẹ ti múná lọ. Hello. Gbogbo ẹ ti já lóra wọn. Sẹ́yìn yẹn wá. So ká filẹ̀ ká dé mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Barbara, how are you? So mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí. We appreciate. Kàfíà máa kó rẹwà. Ṣe rí the last lap yìí we have to be ojú wa imú wa gbogbo ẹ̀ a máa fi mú filẹ̀ kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ àgbọ̀dọ̀ for anybody in space. A lot of people want us to go for 2023 but tí àwọn ará ilé bá ti sọ pé ó ti yá náà nìyẹn kò dẹ̀ sí nǹkan tó lè dá dúró ẹ̀yin ará ilé lè máa sọ fún wa pé ó ti yá. Ó yẹ bá a ṣe kíákíá mo fi parí ètò yẹn. Ẹ bá wa ṣe kíákíá fi parí ètò yìí lẹ́yìn ẹ̀lú yẹn ti fẹ́ máa pọ̀ ẹ ṣe kíákíá ń gbọ́ sà. Èmi ń gbọ́ yín mo ẹ̀rọ kébì lè pariwo ọ́ ti ní káyé pariwo wọ́n wà ní sàn wọ́n ti sùn. Ó yẹ gbóhùn sókè. Ẹ ṣe ní kíákíá.
Now, èmi kàn believe wípé tí wọ́n bá lọ títí fún ọdún fún ẹgbẹ̀rún ọdún òtítọ́ ó máa overtake ìjọba amítọ̀ adé overtake ẹ̀. To the extent that as it is now the situation in the country like one guy na call mo sọ fún yẹn ní mo padà pè lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ mo fi bẹ̀rù láti mi gbọ́ yín dáadáa lórí fóònù yẹn ni pé I as a person I am tired of Nigeria kò dé síbi tá a lè lọ because we live on loan. We live and the interest they are charging on this loan There's nobody to checkmate all these people.
Shark,
I know that they don't know.
Shark Lonely.
They know that they don't know.
Shark Lonely.
They know what is happening in the country. They know how we have been humiliated in this country. They know how we have been shattered in our own land.
Deliberate.
Security of the nation. For now, but let's check the welfare of your citizens, of the citizens of the country. So that's what I'm saying in local. Where still we have resources that even 50% of resources in the location that is only. You understand? So 50%. You will have to set a kind of people that will be in charge to make sure that there is even distribution equity in that land. But these people, they are cheating us. What they know, people are cheating. They have been bought over. They have been bought over. And they dare not say the truth. They dare not look into this rubbish government and challenge them. Because who are you that they're talking? What do you think they can invade their house and kill them and assassinate? And this, sir, I'm proud of this country. I don't do your law. They need to Yoruba nation, they need. And
okay.
I went to Ila rurally.
Wow.
Hello, sir.
Nobody. Wow.
Yes. I went to, because I picked Omeyo's number from your YouTube program. I picked that number, the space there. There are so many numbers displaying. Oh, hey, so many. Create much of awareness. I picked that number because showing everything there's something called Yoruba Nation.
Wow.
What you want me to but what I was just following your program. I don't follow you. Since that time, since last year, we didn't follow.
Àwọn kan máa ń rò pé iṣẹ́ rí mo láìkí wọ́ọ̀tẹ́ lò nísìnyí pé sórí o àwọn kan rò pé kíndìn pé kò rí bá ibà lè fi ṣe ìyẹn la ṣe láti break down àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn léra tẹ́ bá lọ wo mo ti close kìíní yẹn níbi tí wọ́n sọ pé 30 years ni wọ́n ti ń fà pé àwọn indigenous people kò ṣe ń ṣàwà nìkan because àwọn indigenous yẹn pé àwọn tó nílẹ̀ gbogbo wọn fẹ́ claim ilẹ̀ wọn padà ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ fún wọn láàyè so ọ̀rọ̀ pẹ́ sórí ìlú yẹn ọ̀rọ̀ táwọn Yorùbá kan ṣì ń dìmú ní ẹ̀pẹ́ ìkíni Yorùbá nation rọ o tí Tinubu wà níbẹ̀ àjàgàbá ó ti kọ́ Tinubu wò Tinubu ó kù díẹ̀ ni.
Where I'm staying is just the third house to Kakao to Canada.
Yeah.
The third house to Kakao house and each time the man calls anyone to leave mine, that can be a motorcycle, very cool. If I'm on top accident, if that can be a motorcycle, come back once again. So, woman be wrong with me. Although would have come out good. That we are good enough to say we are no more collecting.
It's going to be a total it's going to be every one of us and that's what ọ̀rọ̀ sọ ẹ mo fẹ́ mú mi padà lọ sí note mi tí kìíní béèrè lọ́wọ́ tí mo béèrè tí Káyọ̀dé mọ̀lá pé ta ló máa wà bold láti kó wa kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Somebody has to be bold among every one of us. It doesn't have to be pé mi only listen on the 10th of August. Who will be bold to take the Yoruba people out of Nigeria? It has to be a collective effort. Effort kan lẹ́yìn ṣe nísìn. Effort kan làwọn ṣe nísìn. Lówó yẹn gan tún ráyè ra data nínú pé kẹ́ jẹun ẹ ṣàfihàn mọ́ tó ń lọ because oúnjẹ kéékèèké tẹ̀ ń ra data ẹ bá fi oúnjẹ náà sílé bó tẹ̀ jẹ́ noodles kékeré kan àbí tẹ̀lé sọ́dọ̀ mọ́là kẹ́ jẹ noodles kẹ́ padà sílé.
Ikorodu
Group.
Agitators, anything. And I went on Sunday. Ojoto Pami, the relative to me, because me, people, Ojoto Pami, me,
Ọlọ́mọ san wálé ẹ̀hún gbogbo ẹ̀ ká má give up ni.
Èmi àti Adéwálé right hand man bàbá Chinsọ́lìpọ̀ wọ́n gbórúkọ wọn ní Adéwálé báyìí. So apàdé ń pè yẹn Ojoto Pami tó yẹ ní ìmáìlú. Mind our defense.
Let's just continue. Yeah. Yeah. Am I so got discuss because we're live? We're going to discuss here. That's because we're live. Yeah. So am I discussing?
Sorry,
am I discussing?
So now, my point is, I as a person, initiator. Initiator, bá jọ tí bá yẹ tọ́lọ̀ owó fún mi tí mo dira initiator ti gbọ́gbọ́.
Okay then.
At the front.
Right.
I have made up my mind. Let me fight this battle. If I go, let me go. Let my children enjoy. Let the nation that are coming. Lẹ́yìn mi kọ́ battle wípé jẹ́ tí o bá ṣe àwọn bàbá mi tó jà tí o bá ṣe àwọn èèyàn mi tó àwọn ará wájú tó jà àwọn òní tó lọ táwọn jẹ so that I will die as a hero. You understand? So you don't I we are tired.
I should go on. It's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there. I should go on. We'll get there. We just have to continue the campaign and the awareness. You know, the man is just so hungry. My boss, there's no doubt about it. Nigerians will, the Nigerians themselves will come out and bust everything. Not the Yoruba nation people. Nigerians will come out. The economy is biting more and more. There's no money in your pocket. I want to buy another man bust it, and we will help you to expand it with the media. Have a very good evening and bye for now. So it's if I have the strength, I will come out in the morning. If not, I'll just wait till Starr Radio and then we'll link that to our conversation or whatever. We see how it goes. I think I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be busy tomorrow as usual. So let me go and do other things. Or I on the